Hey y'all, it's me again, Joey.
Well, ready to let them loose?
Yep, that's it. Let's see if they make us run.
Oh,
Probably so.
yeah, that one tried to get after him, but other than that, what can you expect? I mean, can you blame them? Oh yeah, they're getting after us now. Go, Joey, go!
Hey man!
Hey, man, buddy. I'm gonna get in the truck. You gotta go back and get your camera.
But also, just get as many as you can off the one next to it. Get out.
We gotta move forward.
Do that side again. Y'all ready? Let's get started. Hey, working on my background. I get my background up. Hey everybody, how's everybody over there in the chat doing? Been a little hectic here trying to get things started. I've been waiting all day for this, and all of a sudden I found myself in a big old rush. But we'll get it all done. Let's see. For some reason my background ain't wanting to come up. Look like we got a few already come in here. JW, how you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. Trying to get over Santa Claus. He about got me wore out.
It's been drizzling rain here all day yesterday and the day before.
We've had the same thing, Joey. They just come through and strips. It's rained here the last 3 days, actually. I don't suppose the sun is actually showing 2 hours the last 3 days. But it's been warm. It's like I said, it's 57 degrees here now, which is pretty unusual for this time of year.
Yeah, 68 here, and right now it's not raining. Yeah. We got a little thunder today too. I had checked on Philip. I hadn't seen him come in here. He said he had traveled through some of it, and then when he got in North Louisiana, he got into a little bit of hail. I go to calling all these names over here, I'm going to miss somebody.
Yeah.
I used to have a way to look at it and see who all was on here.
Well, freezing rain there for somebody put up, and it got out of the comments before I got to see who it was. Posted they had freezing rain. That must be north someplace.
I got the invitation link pinned to the top. If anybody wants to come in, chat with us.
Yeah, please do.
I sat there, let's see, when was that? Day before yesterday, and watching a good orientation flight on my little backyard colony. I sat there and watched them. And that was beautiful. You, especially this time of year, to see an orientation that, as far as I know, I've always been told that that's young bees, and you can tell most of them are because the way they crash land and everything.
Yep.
And it got me thinking. I'm wondering, during all orientations, what percentage of those bees doing the orientation is actually young bees for the first time, and how many of them may be some that's been in the hive for whatever reason and couldn't come out reorientating too. Does that make sense? Did I ask that?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I don't know, Joey.
It just something that come to mind, and I said I need to ask somebody that knows. I don't know if they've ever done a study on that.
Yeah. I know I walked by every hive I had today.
Oh, did you?
For yards, and all my bees were flying, every one of them. And I had one my entrance reducer had popped loose for some reason, and I changed it, and it didn't take me about a half a second to get stung twice on my hands. It popped right out there as soon as I started messing with that entrance reducer. Straightened it back up. For some reason, I don't know where a varmint had got up there and hit it with his claws or what it was, little wooden ones. I usually use metal ones in the wintertime keep the coons and stuff from messing with them. I put metal reducers on. They was pretty protective. But all my bees seem in good shape. You know what? I popped open two apimays that I'd put a little pollen and some fondant in each one of them up on their feeders in them apimays. They haven't touched it neither the pollen patties or the hive alive fondant patties. So I jerked them out, them pollen patties, and Matt over in Missouri at Sandy Valley, he sent me some to try, and I throwed my pollen patties away, and I put some of his fondant in there where I had the pollen patties. I'll see what they're going to see if they'll do. See if they react to it any differently.
Yeah.
My pollen patties are Apis patties, and they're over a year old. They may be losing their touch, but I don't usually have them in there anyway. I just put them in there to see if they'd touch them, but they haven't touched them, nor the fondant or the hive alive fondant. So they surely got plenty of food if they're not coming up to them.
I just want to say hey to everybody again over in the chats, because I got so far behind trying to text people, and I see some newer ones coming in again. Hello, everybody. It just went too fast for me in the beginning that time to keep up. And there used to be a link up here, or a button you could look on. StreamYard has changed some things around. There used to be a button you could click on and see the activity.
Yeah.
See who all had posted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brian, how you like that? Flower Street hat there.
There's Philip.
There's Philip now. But while I guess I went back a few hours later. It might have been a few hours earlier. I don't even know now. Looking at one of those same hives, and I actually could see some pollen coming in. But it wasn't a lot, because you had a lot of bees coming in, and I don't know, it was during the middle of the day. But I don't know if most of them coming in were pulling in water or just flying around hunting and came back empty or with nectar. I doubt it was nectar, but I seen pollen coming in, but it might be like every 10th bee for a little while, and then about every 15th bee.
Yeah.
So,
I had some. I'm wondering on.
Thank
you,
you, Brian.
Do you have anything you think you've got anything that's got a pollen source?
Well, we had those, I don't know what you call them, those little small flowers, look like little miniature daisies. Somebody told me the other day what the name of them was. Said they do give off nectar, a little nectar and a little pollen, but I've never really caught the bees on them.
Yeah.
But it's a little small flower popping up in my field. I hadn't bush hogged some of it because of those flowers.
You got any guys that feed livestock around or chickens, Joey?
I don't know how far it is to anybody with any livestock right now.
I had some last week. They had bees come in, looked like pollen. I got to checking out pretty close, and I'm pretty sure it was either cow feed or hog feed. They'd
Yeah,
been some
I've seen that happen before.
feeders. So I've got a couple of pretty good dairy operations, not too awfully far from me, and they all got out. They both,
Most of our dairies shut down around here, but I don't know if it'd be a feeder anywhere close to me, but I mean, but the pollen thing is what kind of had me surprised, seeing that little bit of pollen coming in.
Yeah. Well, they collect that chicken feed or hog feed or cow feed, whatever it was, the dust off it looks like pollen, but it don't.
Mm-hmm.
When they bring it in. So I don't know.
That could be what it is.
Yeah.
They might have found some of these deer hunters' corn piles.
Yeah. So I don't think it's a thing that there's, that's a pollen source now for me up here. It's pretty well all. And what the fall and the cold weather has got, the rain has got, because we've had pretty much the last week or so had it rained, but dang near every day. So if there was anything out there, it'd be pretty well washed off, I think. But I'm sure we don't have anything. It's got to be from an artificial source of some kind, I'm pretty sure. So.
Yeah. But I picked up I hadn't checked them all, but I picked up a few hives, and they're still pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Just grabbing them on the back and lifting them up a little bit. I know that ain't very accurate, but you pretty much know if you got.
Yeah, that's all I do.
Any weight to it, you can tell it.
Yeah.
Actually, that one that I showed the little video on with that interview cover.
Mm-hmm.
After I did that video, I picked up on that one, and I pulled on it, and I said, "Man, this thing's stuck." Sometimes they'll stick sitting there a long time on that beehive rail, and you had to unsnap it.
Yeah.
I pulled and pulled, and I finally got it to pick up. It wasn't stuck. That thing's heavy.
Heavy.
It was heavy.
Speaking of those glass covers, glass inner covers.
Yeah.
Now those folks that sell those, Joey, what's the name of them again? While we're talking about that, I want 2 or 3 of them.
Bee Gold Honey.
Bee Gold.
Bee Gold Honey.
Bee Gold. There was one that come up there, but it had that wasn't what it was. I looked this afternoon. I'd have to go back and check my stream history for them, but they had holes in the glass, and I don't want that at all. I just want these. Yeah. Those that your folks make don't have holes in the glass.
Yeah, hang on a minute. I grabbed that one. I went and picked it up the other day. The one I had showed was actually one of mine.
Yeah.
This one never had a bee on it.
Yeah, that's the one you gave away. Yeah. Now those holes on the ends, they got screen. I suppose I could see it now. Hardware cloth on them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now they will propolize all that up if you don't put a lid in it.
Yeah.
You can put the lid in it or just a cap from a canning jar.
Yeah.
Put it in there, and it'll keep them from plugging it up. Emergency alert. Bad weather somewhere.
Yeah.
You see, he's got this one finished. It's got just a varnish or whatever. I don't know what they use these days. But he said you could actually paint over that if you wanted to paint it white. But it's cypress. I don't know if it would really need painting or not.
Yeah.
But
well, depends on what kind of cypress it is, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
If it's
I'll get with you. When are you wanting to get any?
If you're going to, will you see him before Nobby?
I can probably see him. I have to see if he's got any left.
Well, don't make a special trip now. Is he
Well,
close to you?
he's about an hour and a half from me.
Oh no, don't go. I'll just get on their website and order some from him. I want about
Well,
3 8 frames.
right now he's got them out of stock because his glass company's not delivering right now.
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah.
He said it'll be sometime in January before he gets another
Well,
delivery.
no
Then he can
rush
build
for
some
them. I
more.
just want to try some of them.
But
I just
I'll
want
call him. I'll call him and see if he's got enough to let go. You want 8s or 10s?
I take 110 and I'd like to have 110 and 2 8s.
Hang on just a minute. Hello. Said there was a tornado warning in the area.
Okay, yeah, I've seen these giving chance of storms down your way.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll call him Monday morning. I'll call him if he ain't fishing. And if he's got them, I can run and get them. That ain't no big deal.
No,
Hour and a half ain't that far. I got to go
Well,
an hour and a half any
don't
direction.
drive out of your way to get them, but if you do, if you should, but I don't. Let me just order them from. It's Bigo Honey Company.
Gold honey.
Okay, and he's got a little website that I can order them off of.
Yep.
Bigo Honey. I'll write that down.
Let me see if I can find their link. I got to make this small.
I just want them. I have kids come out from the schools, where I can open the hives up because I don't use inner covers normally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I like these. It's a good tool. They're a little high.
Yeah.
Especially when you tell people what the price is on them. But once you kind of get used to it, I can walk out there in my yard, the ones that's got them on now in my bee yard, and check that beehive out in the middle of the nighttime with a flashlight.
Sure. Yeah.
And it don't even disturb the bees.
Sure. I've got one in that horizontal they got off of Ricky, an observation glass in it, and I really like it. It's the same way. If I had kids or someone come out, well, I can pop it open and say, looky there. I'm going to get 2 or 3 of them just for show for the kids that come out. I have class kids. I'm not too far from town where they can come out. Kids from school come out.
Yeah. See if they'll let me post this. That's it right there. You may have to go.
Bigoldhoney.com. Yeah, I got it.
You may have to go in the YouTube one to click on the link.
I'll just write it down and do it later. If I can get this pinned right. Hey, Miss Kimberly.
Let's see. She wants, I don't know why she don't text my son. She wants me to text my son, tell him tornado warning in there. I'm going to look out the door a minute, JW.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's mighty quiet right now out there. That's kind of scary.
Yeah. Gets real dead still. Look out.
Yeah. I got my generator all ready. I told her if the power goes out, just give me a few minutes and I'll get it started up again.
You know, I told you them posts or them links weren't popping up from you and Melissa,
Yeah.
and I turned my phone on and or completely off, kicked it back on, and they just now every one of them popped up. The original from you and 2 or 3 back and forth from Melissa and Tom.
Huh.
I guess everyone's ready for Nobby. I hadn't. Some folks may be getting ready to do a little traveling here about, what, 48 hours? It's got a long way to go over driving.
Cajun Homestead.
Yeah. I'm not going down. I'm only about it's a short 2 hours for me from Louisville. I'm not going down to Thursday morning.
I clicked on the wrong one. Yeah, I've been kind of watching that weather come across, and the bottom end, a real bad part in that the bottom end of it's going to be coming right over here. It's supposed to came by 7, and they moved it back to 9.
You know, Russell there north of you just posted he's getting some rain and lightning. Zavada's coming in Wednesday afternoon, looks like.
With her texting me and everything else going on, I've missed some of the chats.
DC, most of our weather through this country, and I'm sure Joey's case, and most of my case too, comes in from actually comes up off the Gulf out of the south and southwest. So we don't get most of our stuff's below that line that comes in from Washington State, and out in through there. Most of that goes through north of us, Wisconsin, Dakotas, Montana, Colorado, Wyoming. We get all that moisture crap from the Gulf of Mexico. It's reason it's cloudy here all the time.
I accidentally texted you when I was trying to text him.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen it.
If I hadn't looked at my phone again, it wouldn't have done him much good, would it? My driveway, or our driveway, is like a 1/4 mile long, and if he got out and ran here, he could be here in 45 seconds maybe. So I tell you what, I actually did a video. I was up here right around this honey house somewhere a few years ago, and it was bad weather, and I actually was like standing on my porch looking out, and all of a sudden I could see something hit the field up there where he lives.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a little higher than me up next to the field, and I heard all kind of noise. He lives in an old trailer, and I jumped in my truck. As soon as I heard it, I jumped in my truck, took off up there, because whatever it was, didn't last long. It had took, his swimming pool was like half full or a little less because he'd been working on it. It had peeled that pool up and took it, put it into the swing set, and then a trampoline blew up on top of that, and every bit of that went up against the tree line next to his house. And it took just one panel off the end of his trailer. It pulled it up, opened it up like that, and we had to get out there while it was raining and get it screwed back down. And I was kind of proud of that young'un. after he was home alone, and after we went through all that, he started crying. I said, "What's the matter?" He said, "Everything, with the exception of this we're fixing now," he said, "everything that got messed up belongs to my youngins." And that kind of got to me, you know. There's
Sure.
swimming pool, swing sets, and trampoline.
Yeah. I used to talk about that. I had one of the hurricanes. See, I lived down there in the Panhandle of Florida for right at 18 years. And one of our hurricanes, I forget which one it was now. I had a pool and a lanai around it, and it wiped my lanai out, and I had a stool off of somebody's out of somebody's house because it wiped out several houses. I had a stool in my swimming pool, ceramic stool.
Ain't that something? I don't know if you can see this or not. Let's see if I can get it right. That blue dot is where I am.
Yeah, I know about where you're at. Yeah. Oh, I see the radar. Yeah, it's moving. Yeah, we're right over you. Yeah. It looks like most of it's by you right now, temporarily anyway. That's
But
current.
we're actually, it's just past us right now. Maybe we won't get any more of it.
Are you north of 10 there, Joey? You are, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm probably 45 minutes from
North of 10. Yeah.
No, longer than that. I actually had to cross the lake to get to 10 here. So it depends on the traffic in Covington. It's about an hour and a half if I drive straight south to get to 10.
Okay.
But I usually, if I'm going west, I go to Baton Rouge. And if I'm going east, I go toward, Slidell, Biloxi, and hit 12 and then run into 10 there. Actually, I can get to 10 quicker if I'm going east in Slidell.
Okay.
Because 10 kind of zigzags down through there a little bit.
Yeah.
Dips down through New Orleans. I think that's why they built 12 years ago, to kind of bypass some of that.
Yeah.
Built 12 coming from Baton Rouge to, where's 12 in? Somewhere around Biloxi? No, it don't go that far.
Mm-hmm. I don't think so.
It merges back into 10 right there west, east of Slidell.
So then, how far is it over to like Gulfport over around Randy's from you? What are you there? What, 2 hours?
I don't know exactly where he's at, but yeah, Gulfport's about an hour and 45 minutes. I can take the back roads and get there quicker than I can if I go hit 10 and go across. It actually takes a little longer if I take some of those back roads. I can get there quicker driving 55.
Yeah.
But maybe closer. I'm gonna say closer to 2 hours time I get through some of the traffic.
That's what I used to come across 10 there quite a bit. I had family in Texas and stuff, so when I lived in Florida, I come across 10 there quite a bit.
Yeah. Trampolines fly in the wind. I always used to turn them over. And it would push them down instead of pick them up. Just put a couple of little weights on it. Now, my son's was actually tied off with 3 concrete buckets we had under them and had them tied off. I had made them for anchors for something else, and he had took them loose to relocate the thing and didn't tie them back down. But they got them things now, them trampolines, they got them safety walls on them now, and that thing ain't nothing but a parachute.
That wind gets tight enough, it takes everything. Ain't nothing that's going to stay nailed down.
I don't know how many people heard my question, JW. I'm going to ask it again. Does anybody know during an orientation flight, what percentage of that flight that you actually see doing the orientation flight are young bees? And what percentage may be old bees, been in the hive for a while and come back out and had to reorient? Anybody know? I don't know if anybody's ever done a study on that.
I wouldn't know for sure. If I was going to guess, I'd guess. Yeah, I'd guess on the young bees, and unless you move them, good ways.
Yeah.
Rotate, of course, the whole hive will.
That's me. I've just always said it was young bees.
Yeah, that's what I'd say too.
Because I did a video on it one time, a little short, but you could see those young bees coming out. Some of them would actually fly out and crash.
Yeah.
Right then, and then some of them would be trying to come back in, and they'd crash. They'd hit the landing board and fall off on the ground.
Fly into the front of the hive. Yep.
I get plumb tickled watching it sometimes. Uh-oh.
Ziggy says 3-week-old bees. Now, man, he's about right.
Russell's power went out. What'd Ziggy say?
You lose your power, Joy. I'm going to run like a scalded dog. It'll be heading my way next. I'm only about 8 hours up the road by automobile.
We've been getting some pretty good rain. It's just enough to keep the ground wet. But we can always use all the rain we can get, though.
My wife just walked by. Said they're predicting our rain to start again at 9. It's temporarily shut down. So.
And I think it's going to be a lot.
And she thinks it's going to be a lot. If you can't hear us talking in the background.
But the kind of rain we've been getting, I would rather get it than I would just a hard soaking rain, washing the ditches off, washing the roads off. I'd rather get like we've been getting the last few days. It's keeping everything wet, but that's what we need. Power blinking. If the power goes out,
you told me you had a generator. You got a Gen X, do you? Or?
I don't forget what the brand is.
I've got them at the farm. I don't have any here.
I got so many different ones.
Yeah.
The one I got set up right now is it's a big one, but it's a portable. It'll run my whole house then some.
Yeah.
But it runs off propane. I got 2 propane tanks. I've got 150-gallon tank that I've had for years, and about a year or two ago, I had a 250 installed with it. So we figured at one time, I've got a couple of weeks worth of fuel that I can run my generator.
Yeah.
Without stopping.
I've got mine. I've got 3 500s that were my generators at the farm, so I could run a good wall.
Yeah.
But I'm on natural gas here. I live at the edge of a little town up here.
Yeah.
About 8 or 10,000. I got natural gas here at the house we live in.
I've got a little a dual fuel. The one I got hooked up is a dual fuel. It'll run on propane or gasoline. It's never had gasoline in it. I got another one for my camper. It's a dual fuel inverter. And it's like 7,200 watts or something like that. it will actually, because I've got a soft start on my 4-ton condenser unit, that inverter will actually run my whole house. 2 freezers, 2 refrigerators, and a microwave big as a
Wow.
refrigerator.
That's pretty stout.
They'll both run it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was impressed with it. It's a little bit more than I actually need on the camper. It's a 50 amp.
Mike, are you in the UP of Michigan? Aren't you in Michigan, Mike? If you hear me, well, you're still on there. Well, let us know. I think he's in Michigan someplace. I don't know if he's in UP or up around the main part of it. Ziggy's there in Southern Ontario, I think. That 8-degree stuff, we get it on occasion, but not very often anymore.
What's up?
Hey, Joey, JW, how you doing?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Oh, doing good. Excited for next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, with the holidays being midweek, my days are all over the place. So I'm just counting down to where Nabi is, not even New Year's, so.
Yeah. And we need to cool back down. I'm afraid they're going to burn up too much stuff.
Yeah. That it's coming though. I think we're going to get in the 20s again here before too long.
Yeah. He was on earlier. I was in all my, I've got 4 apamays that I had to feed on. I didn't crack the propolis seals on my other stuff, but and I had on those apamays, I had on one side I had the hive alive fondant, and on the other side I had the apis patties. What they were both last year's. They was both older.
Right.
But the bees hadn't touched either one of them, so I throwed the pollen patties away and put in some of your stuff. I'll be interested. I'll check in before I come to Nobby. I'll give you a report for on to you down there, and I'm sure I will.
Yeah, sounds good. I tell you what, we've just been super impressed with the results that we've been seeing, and
yeah,
I have nothing to sell. I'm just trying to pass on,
sure.
Somewhat
That's
useful.
the other band coming in now.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I can't get it to show it right. It might get too bad for me to run to the house.
Yeah.
This little honey house might be like the Wizard of Oz in a minute.
Well, yeah. As the old timer says, if you don't know what to do, be sure you stoop over and kiss you know what goodbye.
Yeah.
We've all watched the Wizard of Oz, like you're saying.
Yeah. I'm gonna step out the door again and look, see what I'm seeing.
You get nervous. Ain't nothing you can do about it. You can't outrun it, Joey.
I do the same thing though. You're not supposed to, but you almost have to, So yeah, JW, I've noticed kind of the same thing. I have not all the hives are eating it, out of 70 hives, I would say 60 in the 60s probably are consuming some.
I'm gonna go move one of my vehicles out close to a tree.
Okay. All right, Joey. We'll sit here and lie to one another till you get back.
Yeah. Somebody tries to come in, you're gonna have to wait till I get back.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, the some of that hive alive fondant that I had on there, if they weren't taking it, I noticed that some of it was drying out on me, which doesn't help. I feel like the consumption part of it. So when you put yours on, just wondering, did you put it on like as it came, just in the kind of the soft sugar brick, or did you take it in that baggie and kind of break it up a little bit with your hands?
I broke it. It was actually soft enough that I just cut it with a knife and put a couple. I didn't put it all in. I'm kind of going to scatter it out
Sure.
When I go back in my hives, I've got I call them candy boards,
Mhm.
or I actually call them honey boards, but everybody thinks I put honey in them, but I don't. It's just sugar and a little pollen and some either if I've got liquid hive alive or the honeybee healthy or something, I mix in and make all my candy boards. I guess you'd want to call them 4 pounds is what I use on my, but I've got mostly 8 frame stuff.
Okay.
I make 4-pound candy boards. That's what I make.
Okay. Yep.
And
I kind of look at it like not as much as emergency feed is just, I've spent so much time growing those bees and enough hard work to where, I feel like, I'm confident that they were heavy earlier in the fall, early winter, a month ago, that they were all sitting fine.
Yeah.
But man, we just, we've had enough fly days to where, if they're flying, they're dying and they're burning through something. So
yeah.
Tell you the truth, I've actually on the warmer days, I've actually open fed a little bit with that fondant.
Yeah. I just stuck some out. I had some, I actually added to my, I've got a heated bottling tank and I added some honey to it yesterday or the day before, I guess it was, in my bottling tank, and get a little foam on top of it. And I took some saran wrap, and laid down on and get it off the top of in my bottling tank. And I had that in some on the saran wrap, and I put it out there on where the bees get to it. And there was bees showed up within 30 seconds, I guess.
Yep.
They was after it.
Same way with that fondant. If you open feed with it, they'll just be, man, they'll be so happy. That's, they're consuming if they're lucky enough to get to sugar, like I feel like if they have the mountain camp on top of them with dry sugar, with water and kind of pack it. The difference I've seen with that compared to the fondant is that there's definitely no doubt that they're consuming the fondant versus hauling any of it out, so that's one advantage. And I feel like the consistency is probably key for that, because of that, just a little research I've done on the bees' tongues. They're kind of like just like the little hairs on, that help grab that nectar or pollen when they're hitting the flowers. So that fondant, I feel like, is pretty gentle to them. So it seems like they're consuming it really well. I'm figuring it has to be the consistency of it, the viscosity or the mashed potatoes, kind of is what I call it in the bag. But
I don't know. I guess we're still on. I don't know. Joy's went off totally. So.
Oh, okay.
And maybe just me and you visiting. We may not even be on. We may not even be on the air.
Gotcha. Yeah, I see on the live, at least the counter is still ticking.
Yeah.
No, I guess we shouldn't talk bad about anybody, just in case.
I just don't. Back to the mountain camp.
Yeah.
I've used it over the years. I just don't have any luck with it. He's still alive.
There I got
kicked out. Away. Looks like you got a little wet though, didn't you, buddy? I can see it on your shirt.
Oh, you had.
Yeah, I had a raincoat on.
Yeah.
You run pretty fast. You don't even get wet.
Well, had a raincoat on, and half of it was in the car. Got my new hat kind of wet. It's okay.
We didn't know when you went completely off. I just told Matt you may be gone completely. You might have lost power.
This computer has its own power.
Yeah.
But it is plugged in, and the Wi-Fi is on a UPS where it won't blink. I don't know how or why it did that. The only thing I know is the tower. I'm on AT&T fixed wireless, and the tower probably lost power.
Yeah.
I would go to, I've got, what's the other one? Starlink. I've got Starlink too, but I don't have it on the UPS. If power blinks there, it's going to go out.
You won't lose. You won't lose Elon. He won't let you.
Yeah.
You don't lose. Hines right in his path of a radar tornado hook.
Yep.
So
I told him the honey house might turn into Wizard of Oz in a minute.
Yeah, it's amazing the force of nature. You know, I have a lot of family in Iowa, and you know, a lot of open farm ground up there, and near Greenfield. Actually, I have a fair amount of family up there in Orient, Iowa, near Greenfield, and they had a F5 tornado come through there. I want to say it was last spring, maybe summer, but it's devastating. You know, when the Mother Nature wants to give it, just like the hurricanes. It's unbelievable.
we get 2 or 3 every year right through here where I live now. But the last couple 3, we haven't had any right, real close to us within, 15 or 20 mile. But on a tornado, it can be 100 yards, and one place get wiped out, and the other place be fine. So
Just no rhyme or reason to it, I guess.
Yeah. Loma Vista Bees.
Yeah, Todd. Actually,
Tom and Melissa always eating, and you're always cooking.
My wife's cooking a roast
get over those bad habits.
My wife's cooking a roast for tomorrow, and that house sure smells good right now.
Something else, yep.
She fried me some leftover ham from Christmas and made a sandwich today. And then about an hour later, I walked in that house and smelled that roast.
Oh, there's nothing better. I smell fresh cooking like that for sure.
I had bacon and waffles for supper a while ago. So wife said, "The way you want." I said, "No, just fix me a waffle and some bacon."
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I spoke with Todd. He reached out he made the fondant too, and he's put it on a few hives. So it'll be interesting to see his feedback on it. And yeah, it's awesome to hear that people are trying it. I actually spoke with Mike Hansen, who won that 50-pound for Hives for Hero, and he's super excited about it. And he's gone through a couple of batches too, and he's even more excited that he doesn't have to make any. his wife's pumped. So yeah,
Well, I'll be making some. It'll be after Bernabé. I'll see you in between. But I've got that Tom brought out here. I'll know.
Yep.
So I go right to it over my older stuff. Well, I'll know it's.
So again, I have nothing to sell or promote.
Sure,
I'm trying to help our the other beekeepers out there if possible, and so I'm going to bring another 100 pounds to give away. So if anyone runs into me at Nabi or at the No Life dinner at the pizza party, I'll have it in the trunk. So I have at least 8-pound blocks, that I'll package. And if anyone wants to try it, they're more than welcome to it. No charge. I'm just going to share it. And the only thing I ask is just let me know your feedback, just because, I'm just curious to know that it's as helpful as I'm finding it. So
I was going to take that comb class clay, but it's full up before I got that thing filled up.
Yeah, as soon as I saw it sold out.
Like they said, Melissa said it filled up in an hour. And I'll tell you, you don't see much of him anymore if you haven't been in it too long. That Gus Mitchell, he's a pretty good bee man. He's over down there by Memphis. He's very low key and a nice fella, but
seems extremely knowledgeable.
Pretty knowledgeable.
I've watched his videos. I can't even tell you how many times. Where he's standing there and just talking real. He's kind of soft spoken, but you can just tell he's full of wisdom for sure. Seems really humble.
Yeah. He's I call him overall britches. He's my kind of guy. I'm an overall guy pretty much.
Yep. So yeah, I'm excited. I know now this time last year I was envious of all the people talking about going to Nabi, and luckily the bees help facilitate some of that trip this year. So that's definitely looking forward to meeting a lot of people and shaking hands and putting names to faces. You know, I think that'll be some of the most fun.
Yeah. Well, if you've not been there before, it's an interesting event. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, my wife Alicia, she hasn't even really done too much beekeeping at all, but she's super excited just to go and meet and have the experience too. So it's going to be exciting, Zick. So.
Right on the edge of that storm now coming to me.
JW, you're entering your honey into all the content.
Oh, no, Lord, no. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
Tom entered me at our state association had a honeybee class, and he and Melissa was in it and so forth. I carry some honey in my truck because people's always hit me up for honey, you know, and I had some. He went out and got some, entered me in the black jar portion of it. But Lord, no, I wouldn't enter that at all. That's not my thing.
Yeah, I haven't gotten there myself. You know, I think I do the black jar, but I think some of the honey contest itself is not just black jar.
Yeah, that's a specialty. You got to be into it. I know some ladies.
Filter the heck out of
it. Melissa's getting into it, and she'll do good at it because she's real meticulous about everything that she tries. So
yeah, I can see that for sure.
She's hot to trot on it, so to speak. But I that's not my thing.
Yeah, they're at I think there's a class going on in February on honey judging. She'll be able to tell you a lot more about it. But yeah, it's definitely for some folks. I can see it being really useful or gaining information, at least packaging and selling your product. You know, at least learning something. I have a lot to learn, so.
Me too.
Well, y'all do. You never, when you run onto a big guy that knows it all, look out.
Yeah.
That's all I can tell you. Well, beware.
Yep.
Yeah, Gussie used to mess with the Russians. I don't know if he still does or not. I guess he probably does. DC.
What's the major differences with the Russians versus like the Carniolans and Italians? That's what I'm most familiar with. Hey, Mike.
I figured I'd jump on here real quick, see what y'all were up to. I was kind of watching your comments fly by. I got alarmed when I seen that they were hollering about a twister in Sheridan and Pine. I was like, oh Lord, Joey's supposed to be live tonight. So I jumped on real quick, and there you were.
They got a warning here somewhere.
Yeah, it was a big old hook right over top of Pine, and I seen your chair was empty. Then you went blank. I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, I looked out the door, and Lisa's van is parked. You know where the tree line is down the hill from my house? It was a little too close for my comfort, so I went, grabbed the key, and jumped in it and brought it closer to the house where it belonged.
I got you.
I never would have heard the end of it because I parked it there earlier today. I wouldn't have heard the end of it if a tree fell on it.
Well, I was listening to Matt a while back, and then I was listening to you this evening when I first got on, and I was curious about that fondant you make, whether it's like, is it inverted? You cook it down so it's inverted, right? So they take it right down. That's what I thought.
Yeah. So when you're cooking it on the stove at that softball temperature, inverting all of those, you know, basically the sucrose and the glucose and fructose, you're splitting it into simple sugars. So you're breaking that longer chain molecule of the sucrose down, and that the heat's doing it, but also the vinegar. So that's helping invert it.
Gotcha.
That when you're actually cooling it down in an ice bath or what have you, after you've taken it off the stove and cooked it down, you've actually created almost like a 4.5 to 1 straight honey. I mean, almost pure sucrose, you know, a very clean feed, I feel like, you know, for overwintering. And then you basically just get the consistency of it by the whipping it with the drill. So, you know, it does take some intentional, you're making fondant, you know, so I mean, you're cooking and you're
Right.
taking probably an hour out of your day to make this batch. But we found it extremely beneficial. There's fresh wax on the empty bags that I'll pull out. Underneath on my feeder shim has 1/2-inch hardware cloth, and it'll just be a complete grid of fresh wax, you know, underneath where it's been touching. So they're consuming it, but they're also utilizing it somehow with their whether it be housekeeping or touching up comb. Or I feel like in December, if they're drawing wax on anything, that's a stimulative sign of some sort.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what I was wondering, because years ago when I started, I was fascinated with the fondant that the Europeans were using, and we couldn't get over here. So I started looking up recipes, and there was only 1 or 2 true fondant recipes out there that are for bees, because you don't want the baker's fondant, they say, because of the HMF, I guess, or some other starch that's in there.
They also will put cream of tartar in it sometimes.
That's right.
And that's you know, that's not a good thing. We don't want to put that in our fondant at all. So yeah,
you couldn't find the recipes anywhere. That's why I jumped on Hive Alive when it came in. I didn't jump on it I didn't jump on it for the Hive Alive that was in it. I jumped on it because I wanted fondant. I wanted something, because I don't believe in granulated sugar on hives at all, unless it's an absolute emergency. You have nothing else.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, fondant would be great, because then they're able to take that in immediately, utilize it, and they don't consume it like super fast. They're actually very good with it, I feel like, when I see them, even strong colonies.
Yeah, but we've and my wanting to do that, I'm running 70 colonies in the winter this year, and I just wanted to be able to feed them what I felt adequately in an emergency state, or, you know, just giving them something to have in case of it, and not being able to break the bank. So I think it's coming out to be roughly about 60 cents a pound, maybe.
Oh, that's cheap.
Yeah, it's cost effective for sure. I mean, in my fridge right here, I have about 250 pounds of that I'm just basically, I've made multiple batches trying to see how consistent it stays, following the recipe and that temperature and time. It every single time it comes out the same. So I'm really impressed. And I actually, maybe before, you may not have heard, but I'm bringing about 100 to the conference.
No, I knew you were doing that.
I'm happy to share it. I helped donate to the Hive Alive, or for the High Street Heroes with Philip, just because, you know, I felt like it'd be really helpful to maybe generate funds for that, just because it's such a great organization and cause. And I want to be able to do the same with anyone that I come across and meet, to be able to share it so they can see for themselves, you know. And, you know, again, I have no monetary incentive at all, other than trying to make friends and pass along any information that I feel like is helpful. So
you just look around. I'm gonna find you and look you up. And just, if you find Joey, you usually find me tagging behind him somewhere.
Okay.
So
that's
where
I'm following Mike.
I hope to run.
I'm always following Mike. Philip's got a question there. Does inverting mean turn into liquid?
Inverting, it's turning into liquid due to the heating process. So that's just kind of going along with it. But inverting itself is taking that longer, from how I understand it, basically taking a long kind of tough molecule or strain from that sucrose, and inverting it, basically changing it from a polysaccharide to a monosaccharide or a simple sugar. So it kind of goes hand.
Yeah, I just know what it means is it takes it and it turns it into exactly what you're saying. They don't have to. They can immediately take it in. Where sugar, they have to break it down to those. Yeah. It's basically like them being able to eat honey. It's already made into the
after you. On the recipe, after you cool it down and it's about 125 degrees and not too warm, on the candy thermometer as it comes out, you can try it right then, and man, it tastes like sugar honey. I mean, it's basically sugar in a pot is what it is at that point.
I've only fed regular granular sugar one time to a little small colony. It's like 3 frames of bees. And I put paper on top of the frames and put a little pile of sugar, about a cup, on top of that newspaper. And a few weeks later, I opened it up. It warmed up that day, so I wanted to check on them. And they had about half of it. It was about that big around a pile. And I'm sure the lid mashed it down some. But it was like moon shaped. It was that much gone, and the bees were lined up like cows at a trough where they had been eating it or whatever. But after I saw that, I even took a picture and showed a few people of it. But I got to thinking after hearing people talk, were they actually eating that or trying to carry it out and get rid of it?
The little bit of research that I've been able to do on the actual tongue of the bee, how it goes down into a flower, or and then those little hairs, you know, it's almost like a 2-segmented, almost like an elephant trunk of sorts, and then but there's little hairs, and those little delicate hairs, I feel like raking over dry sugar. If you take a close-up video, even in slow motion, of how a bee's feeding, dry sugar seemed to
It'd be almost like us picking up a brick, wouldn't it?
Yeah, kind of. It's not, you know, if I just look at it like, you know, every, I'm not trying to say that my way is the best way. Just like famous Mike Berry, you know, I mean, it's how I do, you know, type thing. But I feel like the way that the bees would be able to consume fondant for me is a no-brainer. And really, after seeing the fresh wax being utilized like that, that tells me, and the vibrancy. I mean, anyone that's used Hive Alive pretty much can say that they haven't seen a negative result of it. It's only been pretty much a good thing. But this is what I consider 2.0 because it's so cheap. And it's a good feeling to create something and see good results from it too. I mean, to be honest, that's part of it, creating something and just seeing how much, you know, how much it's benefiting. So,
well, that's the thing is sugar. What Joey mentioned, I saw a video the other day. It was just a new couple, that brand new beekeepers. I just happened to click on it, and I've seen this myself as well. To where you can see a pile of sugar sometimes outside the colony. Yeah. I'm not saying they don't consume a lot of that granulated sugar if it's there's a lot of moisture like we have down here, but I've also seen it where it's been laid all up under the screen, because I'll keep the screens open back in the day, and there was sugar all on the ground because they just wanted it out. Now others, I didn't see it, but I just think it's just so beneficial to have a fondant that you can put on there. Where they can consume it. And like I said, I've watched them, and I thought the first time I ever used Hive Alive, I figured that thing is going to be gone in like a day. And it lasted 2 weeks on a strong colony, and I was amazed. And that's a little 1 pound package. So it's definitely the way to go. And they've been doing it in Europe for years and years. I don't know if any of y'all ever seen that skep video where they have them old skeps and them guys, it's in that accent, and he talks about the master beekeeper, and they catch their swarms out of their skeps, and it's all skep beekeeping. But they use the fondant, and that was many moons ago, and they made that stuff.
Mm-hmm. I wonder how they're making it. It always seems like it's like a thick bag that they put it on. You know, they just kind of plop it on the bees, and just put the lid on, and that's it.
That's the one.
It almost looks like a big old bag of dough,
My dad used to kind of make it. He was in mess with bees when I was a youngster, and he'd soak that the old burlap feed sacks in the fondant and lay it on across the bees.
Yeah, I mean, I admire anyone trying to keep their bees healthy during winter. I know that's the equalizer, right? I mean, you can do everything right, and if they don't make it through winter, I mean, something went wrong, and we're limited on, to know exactly what, but we can try to guess if we want. But yeah, anything I feel like that can be that utilized that quickly. That's why I want to bring that to give away to people and have them try it, because I'm sure there's people that are skeptical about it and set in their ways. I know, I guess that's one of our flaws, right? If we're too set in our ways, we're not going to pick up something maybe beneficial. We'll look past it. But
well, my pet peeve is that I see, like, I'll see on the forum boards and all that. I saw a comment out of Texas, and somebody said, over on Stan's board, they said, "Hey, when should I start putting granulated sugar on my hive?" And that's the part that, yeah, we want to keep our bees healthy. We want to do our due diligence, because if you don't get them through winter, it's all useless. Like the old bee inspector here said, he said, if you can't learn how to keep them alive for 365 days, we ain't really hitting on nothing.
Yep.
And what struck me is I see this every year when people start gearing up and going, "Hey, I need to get the granulated sugar. How much sugar should I put on?" Well, if it's done properly, none. You know, your goal is to feed them up and have them ready. And I confess, I'm the first one that I'm out there feeding 6 different colonies yesterday because they're light. But you know, I look at the Ian Steplers and the Bob Bennies, both way north of me, one very far north of me, and I don't see them on singles put anything on their colonies. You know what I mean? Now, they deal with the starvations, don't get me wrong, but they build them up properly. And that's our goal, is to do that in the fall, I feel like. And so when I see new beekeepers doing that, it's my pet peeve, going, "Oh man, no, that's emergency, folks."
Yeah. I wonder what the bees determine as debris. So, I mean, a blade of grass or something on a lid, and it goes back on the colony. You know, you'll see them drag it out, or, you know, it doesn't take them very long to kind of distinguish trash or debris from something useful. So I'm wondering if that sugar isn't wet at all, if they even go up to it, or if they do, you know, what it's, if they don't have water to it, or water in their crop, or however they're consuming and putting water to the sugar to consume it, you know, if that is just immediately determined as debris and different than, you know, I mean, when they get up to the faunet, they're actually literally, I mean, you can see them, it's like they're going up to drop a sugar water on a table in the summer. They just start drinking it. Hey, Brad.
How you doing,
everyone?
There's Brad. He can tell us all about that, about making sure they're super heavy. He can tell us how heavy they're supposed to be.
I just tuned
that's
in,
what they do up there with those singles. They have singles up there.
I just caught a little bit of what you were talking about.
Well, I was saying how down here in the South, I see a lot of these younger, newer beekeepers that are. I'm not saying they're taught wrong. I'm saying they're hearing it somewhere and they're just automatically thinking they need to have granulated sugar on their colonies in the winter. I'm like, no, you should feed them properly. And you guys up there are a good example of taking a single, pouring it. Like, of course, up there also you guys do shut down brood rearing as well, but not all the time, as we saw with your videos. But they still shut down enough to where you can plug the whole box full. But that's the key. Even down here is, even if I'm running a double, I want that top double. I want that thing full of honey when November rolls around, so I don't have to fool with them until March.
Yeah. See, we can do that. You talk about the shutdown because, you know, the severity of the temperatures, they're not flying for the most part all winter. And so that aging process really takes a nosedive. If you're going to, you know, in Mike, in your case, if you're going to plug them out like that and prevent brood rearing, you might run out of bees, because your bees aren't going to live as long on average as mine, because mine aren't flying. So you need that brood all winter.
Oh yeah, and we also, but see, that's the trade-off. We need a lot of carbohydrates as well, because when we do have our cold snaps, you know, we'll get a week-long cold and then we'll go 4 days warm. Those 4 days warm, they go out just like this past week. They're going out and they're looking, they're finding nothing. They're burning that energy. So they resort to that honey stores, and we can go through honey really quick. So it's kind of a balance of making sure we have it both ways, you know. We'll never plug a nest because, I mean, I guess we could, but I'll never plug one. I just don't feed them that hard to, you know, if they're light, I feed them. If not, I prepare them best I can. And I still come up with light hives in December, January.
We see the same thing, what you were saying, Mike, about, you know, typically it's a newer beekeeper and they're saying, well, when should I do this and do that? And you just kind of say to them, well, that's not a thing in our area. We see that a lot here. I think it's pretty consistent wherever you happen to be, because of good old Facebook and good old YouTube and whatnot. I think it takes a while for a new beekeeper to really realize how regional and how local beekeeping and bee management really is. They're watching Mike Berry and they live in Manitoba, and they're thinking, wow, I should be doing this with my bees. Well, no, you shouldn't.
Well, you shouldn't do a lot with your bees like I do wherever you live, because you can kill them.
Well, you warned them. It's not a how-to.
And that's the thing. I heard Bob Bain one time. I used this in one of my lectures in North Carolina when I was there. He said how half of beekeeping, and maybe more than that, is an art. And you can get somebody that can go through and look at a checklist and go, okay, check, I got it. But if you don't understand and turn it and make it a vocation, make it an art, and learn the basic bee biology and things like that, all you're doing is get checks in a block, and then when the variables come, you're out. So regional and weather is one of those variables that you can have a super cold winter in Tennessee one year, and then the next year in Tennessee, like where I lived in Tennessee, we can have a 2-month winter, and that's it. And you're in trouble then if you're just going by a checklist and it's not become an art or a vocation. It's just a checklist of knowledge bullet points. You can get in big trouble with YouTube that way too.
I've said before that one of my big learning curves getting to know you guys down south is realizing that seeing how you manage bees and what you have to do and what your bees are doing and how they're reacting to the weather, the climate, etc. And I realize those are the same bees. Really, it's the same bees. It's just a different locale, has a different climate, so you expect different things. But also, like here in Manitoba, we actually had a fairly warm winter last winter, and there was a lot of starvation because the bees were just metabolic rate was just a little too high. And so a lot of, especially outdoor wintering beekeepers, it was cold enough to keep the sheds warm, but the outdoor people found a lot of starvation. And so learning about the bees and learning about how they react to certain situations in different climates and stuff, such as watching Mike and I watch I talk to Bob Walker, watch Bob Binney, and so the same bees in a different climate. I'm thinking, well, it's not it's not different because they're different bees. So if my climate, I have a warm winter or a cold summer or something, then I'm learning about how to manage my bees from people who are not in my climate, as an alternative kind of a thing, not a how-to, not what I should be doing, but what can I understand about the bees.
Yeah, one of the first, or not the first thing, but one major thing that I had to learn was how to become more aware. And as a beekeeper, aware of the seasons, aware of time of need for what I'm seeing, smells, just all the different awareness, like walking up to every hive individually and kind of, as a different superorganism and reading what they're trying to tell me, so being aware almost to that level, like there's a voice coming from them. They can't say it, but they're showing you. So kind of like the awareness of just filling the gap and see what you're to do next, basically. That's helped me tremendously be more intentional with what the next.
It's a real kind of a Sherlock Holmes kind of a thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You just have to take all the cues and the clues,
Right.
and then put together a scenario. And then as you understand about the bees, which we understand more about the bees every day as we manage them, just over the years, we start to understand them more.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, and that's what it's kind of was getting at with like knowing a checklist. As you learn the seasons and you learn what they do. Yeah, I always recommended the basic beekeeping books, especially Beekeeping for Dummies, because it just gives you the very basic bee biology. So at least you know what's going on, but you really don't until you've done it a little while. Like Matt was saying, it takes you a while to figure those things out, like a flow. I didn't even know what a flow was. A mentor is so valuable, but if you don't have one, it takes you a little while to kind of figure out and let it become an art. It doesn't become an art until you can learn those things. And unfortunately, we learn by failure, or fortunately, how you want to look at it. Yeah.
One thing I tell new beekeepers, if they're asking me for advice or how to get started, whatnot, I'll tell them, because it's book learning and they can do it in the off season here, is I tell them, you learn the life cycle of the honeybee
Right.
so that you cannot make a mistake. You learn that like it's the back of your hand, and that will serve you so well, because you can divine so much from that. You can look in your hive, and by looking at the bees, by looking at the brood specifically, you can put together a picture of the last 21 days plus
Mm-hmm.
in that hive. You know exactly what's going on. I
Yeah.
can, in the springtime, it's interesting here. I can quite often pull a couple of frames out of a brood chamber, and I can detail what the weather was for the last 3 weeks. And if I were to write that down and go and check, the weather uh, site, and then I can see what the temperatures and stuff were over the last 3 weeks. Those correlate perfectly with my brood chamber, because in the spring here, we're kind of right on the cusp of being able to raise brood and not being able to raise brood. In the summer, of course, it's not as critical, but I think that's one of the most important things.
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of like cultivating anything, we're seeing when we go into our hives, we're kind of seeing what the last 2 weeks have played out to give us at that moment. So if it almost like if there's something wrong that we're seeing now, is there something a week ago I should have noticed, like were we broodless, a week or two and I missed it,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing, what have you, emergency cells or whatever, whatever's going on in a situation. But that snapshot when we pull the lid, we're actually seeing a culmination of what's leading to that point. Whether it
Yeah.
be from our last inspection or I
When
know.
you see a frame and you get that perfect frame that's got a little bit of seal brood in the center, and then it works out, and you get plump larvae, and then smaller larvae, and then
Yeah.
eggs and whatnot. And then you pull a frame one day and you see a patch of sealed brood, and then it's surrounded by a whole bunch of eggs. And you think, well, that's not normal, right? You look at normal a lot and you realize that that's not normal. So you can say, well, there was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days minimum that she didn't lay, or they cannibalized all that.
Right.
So then you can start to say, well, why is that? Oh, okay, the weather has been really
We
terrible.
won't.
That's different reasonings for all that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's such an interesting deal, and how it can be so different every time, and it's just like I can tell my only regret with it is that I found it at 46 and I only and not 24. It's just what an
Yeah,
amazing adventure.
me
It's
too. I was 50.
I can't wait for spring, I mean,
And to extrapolate that idea, looking at that hive, writing a story as to what you see in there, and then going through your apiary, looking at 2 or 3 or half a dozen or 10, and they
Yeah.
all kind of tell the same story. And then you get 1 or 2 that tell a different story.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And then so you're looking at that, you're thinking, well, why are you telling a different story? Now you start to look into, okay, what's unique here? Do we have a queen issue? Do we have viral issues? Do we have mite issues, nutritional issues? Oh, I forgot to feed this one, or something like that.
Yeah.
So to get that baseline as to what's normal in the apiary, and
Mhm.
then you get that. That's why, people who tell me they've got one colony, I just say,
Yeah,
don't do that.
that would be tough. I mean,
Yeah.
you're seeing bees and you're caring for an awesome deal, but one hive I feel like is, almost harder than 3, in that
Well,
sense. If you're going out,
it's dangerous, because you'll go through, especially a new beekeeper, you get one hive in the spring, you go through the summer, comes along to the late August or something, and then they have no idea that this hive is lagging and it's not going to make the winter, because they have nothing to compare it to.
right.
So
Yeah.
I think 3 hives really is minimum, because if you have 2 and there's a difference, you don't know which one's normal,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you have 3 and one's different, then you might say, well, pretty good chance that the other two might be normal.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know I'm definitely a new beekeeper. This is only my second winter. So I feel like people getting into bees, almost I would recommend them getting a package and a queen and watching them develop that nest and draw comb, and a nuke that's on the borderline of swarming. And for a new beekeeper, I think is they're not doing themselves necessarily the best favor, because that's like opening the book to chapter 3 and starting. You've missed the introduction and the some of the characters, and you're seeing it now and reading about it. You've missed the magic, so to speak.
Well,
That train's already
you
going
bring up
40 miles an hour down the track, and you don't have to drive it yet.
right. Matt brings up a super good point, because I had several nukes last year I sold, and they had to be in a 10 frame within that next week to 10 days. If they weren't, they were gone. And so one person just wouldn't work out a schedule with me, just wanted me to bend over backwards and travel all over the state to get it to him. I said, finally, I'll keep it. Yeah. And it was so that was about mid-April, and that thing made a box of honey. It was so it's kind of a double-edged sword. Mm-hmm. As much as I care about who I'm selling them to, I can't sell them something. Like if you sell it to somebody that's new and they hear people say, oh, well, it should be this many brood frames and all that, and I give them something that's got like a whole frame of uncapped brood, that's good. You and I will look at that and go, hey, that's just fine, because in the next 10 days, that's going to be a solid frame of brood.
Right.
But so you end up giving them 3 fully capped frames, sealed brood all the way up and down, a frame of honey and some pollen and some more. And it's loaded with bees. And I look at them and I go, you have got to get this in a 10 frame. Mm-hmm. And that's a good point, Matt, you bring up, because they've missed everything. They're catching that thing right before swarming. They have no clue how it built up. They don't realize that one frame represents 4 frames of bees.
Yep.
They don't understand
There's no telling how many times I've been through that with somebody.
Oh, Joey's had to put them back in 10 frames before, also, just like I did several times.
And that person may not agree, but you did that person a service, because like just the short bit of that story that you told me, that person is not going to succeed keeping bees. Yeah, because you can't make appointments with the bees. You can't say, okay, a week from Thursday, we're going to do this. No. Often you're, 3 or 4 days behind, right? And you're going to get your butt kicked. So, you kind of did a service for that person too.
I did, Brad, that's funny you said, because I was so angry by the time it was said and done with. I gave her 3 different options. And finally one was, hey, look, we're having a meeting in Franklinton. Come on up there, 7 p.m. I'll bring her with me. And she was like, yeah, well, I can't really get up there till about 9. And finally I said, well, you know what? You probably don't. I told her, I said, you probably need to find another alternative. I'll hold on to them. Don't sweat it. Because I'm like, I gave her 3 options, and one of them was right there near her home, and you couldn't make it. You couldn't break away for an hour from your family to come get them. You don't need bees. And I think I may have told Joey that at the meeting that night. I was like, this person don't need bees.
Yeah. And not everybody understands that when they say, oh, I want to get bees. They don't always understand that. And that's understandable, because there's not a lot of, quote, hobbies that'll really drive you like bees. Bees will just drive you because they really don't care what you've got on your schedule.
Mm-hmm. No, they don't.
Yeah, that's my whole channel. That's why I started my channel, because everybody would come up to the market and go, hey, you I want to keep bees. And I'm like, I don't think you understand. And I said, you know what? 1 August, I'm out there dying in the bee suit, and I'm pulling one of them tall stacks of honey supers off. I said, people need to see this. This is the part of beekeeping they need to see. And that's how the channel started. You just don't understand. It's work.
Yeah. Yeah. People come here, oh, I want to see, and it's great. They get a little bit of experience, a little bit of exposure and whatnot. But they're always coming here in June before the honey flow, or maybe right at the beginning of honey flow. So nobody shows up in harvest.
Yeah.
They're not that crazy. Right?
Come on, help me.
You see these 100-pound boxes of honey? Go get them.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
There's a guy in construction. He's up Canadian, Mike Holmes, actually. And he and I don't know if I haven't seen his show in a long time, but beekeeping in the summer reminds me of kind of his introduction, because he's turning a pipe jack, raising a floor of a house, cranking with a pipe wrench. So you want to be a contractor. You know, it's just part of his intro.
I know that scene. He says, "You want to get fit? Be a contractor."
There's times in the summertime where I'll go through 4 t-shirts just, you know, in July and August. It's so hot and humid here. It's crazy. And I know Mike knows down south the humidity, and it's not for everybody, but it's for
that heat humidity would be a challenge for me. Holy smokes. You've heard me joke about it being hot here.
Right.
You know, but
I've experienced it. Hot is hot, but when you add moisture to the equation, it really gets bad.
yeah.
How's everything with you, Todd?
Not too bad. Not too bad. The only bad thing is the weather's good, so the bees are out and about, kind of piggybacking off what you guys were talking about a little bit ago. Too much flight. So, they love the fondant. They're all over that stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. Good.
There's only one hive that's not really taking it as much, but all the others, they're on it.
I feel like if they're not taking it, they don't need it. You know.
Yeah.
And I know any of our, we have a lot of Carniolans, but we definitely have some Italian influence in some of the hives, and it's palpable, the difference. I mean, there's our Italians they're just monsters, and they eat according to that engine, you know. So it's kind of like something that just doesn't get very good gas mileage. And if you know those hives or can feel that what they're needing, you can feed to suit. You know, I mean, some hives aren't do it like others, and that's one taking it because you're not dependent on a store. And oh man, I gotta go into town and pick up another. No, you don't. If you paid enough, you just go to your fridge and cut some squares. And
the that first batch I was talking to you about over the phone.
Yeah,
I tried warming it in my heater box. It's going to be sugar water here at some point.
Gotcha.
So all melted down in the water. But that second batch, that third batch, and that fourth batch, they came out great.
That's great.
I broke that paint stir though, so I have to go to Harbor Freight and buy another one.
Did you? Well, part of the problem is it came from Harbor Freight.
Well, yeah.
They got some awesome stuff, but you know, I mean, in construction trade, anything from Harbor Freight for us is disposable.
It's disposable.
I know. I think they put that thing together with JB Weld. It didn't,
anything in that sense is probably, unless it's American made, it's probably not that good anyway. So, but yeah, that's great to hear that you're having consistent results from it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, Joey and if I can retire, Joey and I are going to go up to your place, Matt, since you're close by, and we're going to have to go up and learn how to make this fondant.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Hey,
we can't see you, Todd. You're too far away to drive.
Hey, come on out. I'll give you all the fruit you want.
One day I will. One day I am going out there.
Peaches, plums, nectarines, oranges, lemons, pomegranates.
Try to get Todd back the Missouri side of things. He used to live in Missouri from what he was telling me.
Yeah. Southwest corner.
Yeah.
Matt, you're going to the conference in February in St. Louis, right?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah. Okay, I'll be there. So
cool. Yeah, that's.
Mike, you and Joey should drive up. Bob Benny's going to be there. Corey's going to be there.
Yeah.
Nature's Image Farm's going to be there.
Yeah, I thought about it.
John Hill is going to be there, I think.
Yeah, he is.
I have silently been thinking about it. I hadn't said it out loud till now.
Yeah. Man, I tell you what,
it'll be a vacation. I can promise you.
Yeah.
We'll be pulling.
I make counts of my reservations sound like me. It's going to be crowded out there.
Yeah, I'm flying in Friday and leaving Sunday. So it should be fun, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. Be careful what you ask for, folks.
Westcliff left one out right here. Y'all saw that? JB Weld right up there with Doug.
Yeah.
Wire. Where's the WD-40 at? You got to have WD-40 too.
You know, it's funny. I was walking along the river. Actually, it was the Missouri River, and one of the guys had mentioned he was fishing and he had a can of WD-40. And I was thinking, there's no way he's spraying that on his bait. And sure as anything, he was spraying WD-40 on it. Apparently, the main ingredient is cod liver oil.
Fish oil, yeah.
The lubricant
Yeah.
of it. You know?
Yep.
So I've done it. I'm actually an avid fly fisherman, you know, and tie my own flies and all that stuff. So that's about the last thing that I would ever do on the end of my line and spray WD-40 on it. But I just found that amazing. I don't know what made me.
I used to fish in bass tournaments and stuff over here. I was in a bass club. And yeah, you'd catch me with WD-40 spraying it into a baggie that I have with a bunch of worms in it.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, that was on the side though. No, I've never said that to anybody until now.
Oh yeah,
that was years ago.
Yeah,
I've used it too in the past. God, I did the same thing.
It works.
That's really.
It certainly does.
Sprayed it on jigs. I sprayed it on jigs and worms and crankbaits. Yeah. It didn't help me any, but I mean it did work. It caught some fish.
All right. You know. Okay.
Thanks, buddy.
Start wrapping it up.
Okay. Jackson, my middle son was telling me it's bedtime. So. All right.
The storm's quiet down or over there, Joey?
It sounds like it has a little bit.
Yeah,
it just came over.
I was looking at my radar, Joey. I'm on the same north end of that same system that's going through you.
Yeah.
I'm on north end of it. That's where I'm in here again right now.
Todd, I don't know how long you had to wait for me to bring you in because I was busy.
Oh, no. I
was watching the weather and I looked around and I saw you down there.
That's what I figured. No, when I lived in Missouri, I was there for 6 months and got zapped by a tornado. And moving from California, that's quite a scene. And it was right on the verge of an F4 tornado. It was an F3, so it was pretty strong. And then it hit on a Sunday night at like 10 o'clock at night, and we were next door at the neighbor's house in their basement because the house that we bought didn't have a basement. It had a hidey hole under the front porch, but I didn't feel like getting encased in a cement tomb. I didn't. It was under the house. I was thinking, well, hell, I wouldn't be able to crawl out from all that debris, let alone get the kids in there. So yeah, those are no fun.
I lived in Tennessee for a while, and right there in the Mid-South, north of Memphis, and we would get them through there, and I did not like them. As much as I hate a hurricane, at least I can see it coming. It's like waiting for a turtle to attack it. Where a tornado, you don't even know it's coming.
Yeah, especially at night, you can't see it.
Yeah,
right.
I guess you could see it during the daytime, but you at least see the sky turn green or something.
Mm-hmm. I experienced all kinds of weather back there. We had a derecho go through, and that was the weirdest thing. It was like I was wearing green lenses on my glasses. Everything was green.
Yeah, it
was crazy. And I know you guys were talking earlier about debris or something from tornado. I think it was Joey's son talking about it. There was a tornado in Oklahoma, and I probably lived 30 miles east of the Oklahoma-Missouri border. And there was a tornado right in that area, right on the border. And I found mail that had an Oklahoma address. And then I found a chunk of granite, kitchen counter granite. It was about 1.5 inches or 1 3/4 thick, and it was about a 3 or 4 foot slab that was in the back corner of my property.
Wow.
And it wasn't there the day before because I was working on my fence. So that does crazy stuff.
Yeah, a slab of granite. You wouldn't think that could fly too easy. That would be hard to keep airborne.
The other thing is there was another storm that went through and you could see the funnel cloud. It was probably 10, 15 miles away. And it just passed. And about 15 minutes later, it started raining leaves. I mean, the leaves came out of the sky for like a good 10 minutes.
Wow.
It was crazy. Yeah. It was nuts. I still miss it back there though.
I don't miss tornadoes at all. The hurricanes are terrible, but at least we can see them coming and we can move away from them if they're bad enough. It's just one of those deals you deal with. But
Yeah.
I don't know. You go everywhere and you're going to find something that's going to go on, whether it's fires or earthquakes or mudslides.
And what's weird about the tornadoes, it can seem just rainy right here at my house. And 5 miles down the road, a tornado can tear the place up. You won't even know about it till the next day.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about it is, I lived down that country for several years, and we usually got a lot of tornadoes out of when we had the hurricanes come in. You know, you'd get a lot of tornadoes at the same time. They make tornadoes.
That's what tore Mississippi up so bad during Katrina. Not the coast. The coast got hit by the surge. Up towards Hattiesburg, it was still a Category 1. It went up right up I-59, and every darn tree was snapped off because of tornadoes that just kept spawning off of that thing. And that's the danger is on that one side of the. That's what we had with Ida here. It was spawning tornadoes off, and man, it was no joke. Sitting in this house and feeling it shake. I said, I'll never stay for a Cat 3 or higher ever again.
I tell you what, we went through. This has been a long time ago. It was actually when my wife and we've been married like 48 years.
Oh,
I think we were like married a year and a half, 2 years, something like that. And she was in my car. I had rode to work with my dad. He dropped me off at home. We lived about 5 miles from here, just on the other side of the big town of Pine. And we lived in a mobile home. Well, I had just got home. I sat down in the chair and just rested a minute. And she was in my Camaro, and I could hear her turn on the road we lived on because it had, I was a youngster. It had loud pipes on it.
I can see you driving a Camaro, Joey.
Yeah. She come down the road, just kind of loping, and pulled up in the driveway, and she had her little dog with her. And I heard her coming. I said, well, there she is. And it was just about to rain, but it wasn't really raining. And she pulled up. I'm in a mobile home now, y'all. She pulled up, and all of a sudden, about time for her to get out of the car to the door, water started blowing in the top of our door. I said, what is that crazy woman doing? I thought she was washing something off with a water hose. It was blowing water through the top of my door. A tornado was. And I jumped up, and I had opened the inside door, and I saw her still in the car, and she was beating on the car door. She couldn't get the car door open. That pressure had it pushed where she couldn't open it. And there was a big oak tree in the front yard, and you're about laying down. It just kept doing this. Actually, there's two of them. It was almost kissing each other. And I kept pushing on our glass door, the storm door. And finally, when I got it open, it blew it open. And she finally got her door open. Her and the little dog ran in the house. It came up that quick.
Wow.
And we just thought it was bad weather. It had come over us. It came and left as fast as it came. The next day, we found out that another neighbor about 6 miles down the road lived in a mobile home. He was in the bathroom when that same tornado come over his house. It picked his trailer up and laid it upside down. And the only thing saved him, he was in the bathroom, and when it started happening, his whole family ran to the bathroom.
Wow.
And that's what saved them. When it flipped over, I guess all that stuff in that bathroom kept it from collapsing all the way down. So when he rebuilt an underground house. So, but that was an experience. That's about as close as a tornado I've ever been. Because it went right over us and landed on him.
You see what people when people go through a tornado, they've got that 100-mile stare or whatever, 1,000-foot stare, whatever they call it. You could just tell by looking at them that they were in one. It's obvious. They're walking. They're like walking zombies for a couple days, especially if they lose everything.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna get on the road tomorrow. So, look, y'all have a great
Oh
evening.
yeah.
Nice to meet you,
Enjoy
Mike.
visiting with y'all. I'll see
I hope-
y'all that are going up there in what, a few days. We'll be up
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't be at that one, Mike.
On Wednesday.
See you, Mike.
Come to St. Louis.
there. So you're gonna fly to St. Louis, but you're not gonna fly to Kentucky. I got you.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that other one's in St. Louis. Okay. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I might have to get with Joey, see if we have to do something. We'll see.
There we go. Nice to
All
see
right,
you,
y'all,
Mike.
y'all take care. See you.
See you, Mike.
All right. Drive safe.
See you, Mike.
Well, I think we got all the weather talk out of the way.
So Brad, right when you were popping in there, we were just discussing kind of like the mountain camp method and dry sugar, going on top, and what the bees would potentially see as debris in the hive, or what you think would be like a blade of grass coming on a migratory cover and going back on. It wouldn't take them that long to realize that blade of grass probably doesn't belong there, and you start pulling it out or dragging it out.
I've personally never had any good luck at all with mountain camp type feeding sugar in my area here. They'll pack out more out the bottom, and about half of it you'll find it laying on the landing boards, or if you got screen bottom boards out underneath the hives. I run all my hives on mats, so it shows up like
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess
black,
it'd be hard to
black,
see if you
black
just
belting
bit
mat,
of
so
water
it shows
seems
up
to
quite
help.
readily. I just
Adding
don't
that
have any
little bit
luck
of
with
water
it at
seems to
all.
help. Makes it clump together and harden up. That
Yep.
seems to work for them to consume it then.
Mm-hmm.
Bees carry out a third of it, and I end up melting down the other 1/3 of it probably in the spring. Put it in, make sugar water with it. I just don't get any service out of it at all for as a feed. Keeps them from starving to death, maybe, but it's not. In my area, I'm not saying it don't work, but it don't work for me.
It's funny how something like that really catches on with wildfire. I think, a certain amount of it is the fact that it's super easy,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That can be for sure. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I did it at the beginning. I wasted a lot of sugar. I'd come back to them, and they're already dead. But the other thing is when I would open it, I can't remember why I did it, but I ended up getting all the sugar off the top there, and it all smelled like smoke. I don't even know if you can make sugar water out of that, because I would smoke the hive, the top to get them. I don't know. It was when I was first starting out, but I had a lot of sugar that was smoky.
Interesting.
Make a good barbecue sauce, maybe, but
Yeah.
There he goes cooking again. He's cooking again. Stay away from it.
Has all that snow melted up there, Brad?
It's been melting the last couple of days.
Has it?
It hasn't been super warm, but above freezing, so quite a bit has melted here. There's probably a similar amount of snow in my apiary as you can see in this picture right now.
Okay.
That's pretty warm.
So that's pretty much. Wrong one. That's pretty much real time. That's your
Oh no.
That's your
No,
outside?
definitely not. Definitely not. It probably looks very similar to that right now.
Yeah.
There's not much snow. I was out there today. I should have snapped a picture so I could show you, but I didn't.
it almost looks like last year. There's more now, but 2 years ago it was, a lot.
I think that was last year.
Oh, was it? I thought it was this.
But but I didn't winter outdoors last year, remember? So that's the apiary before I moved in. So that
Oh,
would have
that's
been early November likely last year.
I see. I figured that was this year because you said you were going to leave some outside, but I just didn't know how many. So
Yeah. I don't think my outdoor ones are doing very well. I don't think I've shaken what happened last year. I just don't think I've totally shaken that. I don't expect a write-off like last year, but there's definitely going to be high loss. It's pretty sad. You may have seen the vlog this morning.
Yeah.
I looked at a few in the shed and mixed results. I didn't have any Stepler boxes of bees in there. I had some that looked okay, that likely be okay.
Were those Carrie's queens?
There were a couple of carries. Yeah, there were a couple of carries that weren't alive.
Oh,
yeah, so pretty disappointing.
But
it is what it is, right? I'll worry about that in April.
That equalizer none of us can get away from, whether we're doing indoors or outdoors, that winter time is they don't make it.
See, I think in the warmer climates, like a lot of you guys have, I think it's worse because, you're kind of tormented by what should I do? What can I do?
Mm-hmm.
I can't really do anything. So it is what it is. I don't have to make the decision. Should I put feed on? Should I whatever? Because it's winter.
Yeah.
I really can't do anything.
To give an idea, there's some of our, I guess, earlier summer splits, nukes that I would have made and splits from May and June that never, they missed the honey flow. They were just in building, and throughout the season got them up to double deeps and fed them up. And I mean, they were heavy. They were looking good going into winter. And just with the amount of fly days and temperatures in the 50s, low 50s, some even up to 60, not anytime recently, but it just seems that those hives all got a little bit lighter. Nothing's paper light or in danger of starvation, I don't feel, but noticeably any of those non-production colonies, which of the 70 we have are probably at least 60 of them, had limited ability, I feel like, to anything that they did store on those warmer days. I feel like they've gone through some of it, not all of it, but without getting into them, that's why I kind of wanted to do that emergency insurance, however you wanted to claim it, but that the inverted fondant and get some sort of positive feed for them, just for help me relax a little bit.
Well, on this granulated sugar, fellas, I feel like a lot of that depends on the type of bees that you got too. Some bees are more hygienic, than other strains of bees, and they have some have a tendency to carry more out or be cleaner around their hives than others. I really feel like that's the case. And a lot of, whether one guy says it works for me, it doesn't work for me, or does or doesn't. A lot of it depends on the type of bees that you got. I really feel like that's the case.
Sure. Yeah, I did the sugar bricks last year, and the bees were on them all throughout the winter. If I opened the Reflectix back over the feeder shim, I could see that they were on it. I don't know how much they consumed of it, though. I mean, they were on it, but they weren't tearing into it like they do that fondant. I mean, you'll see. I mean, Todd's kind of seen too, but it's consistent results. So it's super excited to be able to share it, and hopefully other people get the same thing out of it.
Did any of y'all watch Jeff Hartshaw's video yesterday?
Yeah, stripping those supers off, or getting ready for spring.
Even though I knew it was a video, I was a nervous wreck. I said, man, you keeping those hives open way too long down here in the South. You got bees flying Man, it's a good time to start robbing.
See, nervous wreck. Now you know how I felt watching you jacking up your honey thing right beside your glass door
Yeah.
cooler. Joey, what are you doing?
I'm still nervous from that video I saw of Joey wheeling that hive lifter with no strap or something on it. Defying gravity over to the trailer or what, he was moving it, I think.
I'm gonna have a hard time tearing that one apart when I rotate in January.
That's funny. Actually, Phil at 33 Mile Bees had a video earlier today. I saw he was loading a trailer, and that's what it reminded me of. You know, the top boxes may have come off of a two-way pallet, but it was kind of a similar.
You got all those nukes put up, Matt?
I do. They're actually sitting in here in the garage, but yeah, I got them. They're all halfway stacked at least and organized. I'm excited. They're you know, I mated a fair amount of queens this year in those pro nukes. I was kind of skeptical on them, you know, just with the, you know, typical 5-frame nuke box that has the entrance, you know, and it's all wooden, you know, and just the difference between wood and plastic and getting in that little hole that's halfway up the box. I mean, I think we had just easily as good a success out of those pro nukes for mating boxes as we did any of the others that had spray painted designs on the front, and you know, trying to give that queen coming back some sort of memory of where she left, you know. But yeah, I'm excited for nuke sales and ramping up for springtime. So
I hate cleaning dead outs.
Why is that?
That's what ECP's been doing today, cleaning some of his dead out boxes.
Oh, yeah.
I got where I just scraped it, pull all the frames out, and just punch it plastic out. And if the frame is too ugly, I toss it to the side and start with a new one. I'll pick it up later and scrape it. I found they're easier to clean when you freeze them and pull them out of the freezer. More brittle.
Mm-hmm.
You knock that stuff off easier.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to next week. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
There'll be a lot of people there. Hard on the old man's back, all that concrete, walking around on it all day.
Oh yeah, I bet that is a lot of walking.
Yeah.
Might have to go find Dirt Rooster's chair and see if it's empty.
Yeah.
What we ought to do is all of us that's going there, every time he gets up, one of us be there to sit down.
Yeah.
We'll just keep switching out.
You get an office chair on wheels and wheel around the place.
I'm trying to get Melissa to just, I'll bring my own chair and get John Hill to put overload springs on them.
There you go.
Yeah. Around. Yeah. Matt's got his cart pusher with him there. Well,
yeah.
Man.
I couldn't get away too long. She found me.
Yeah, them show me folks.
Todd.
No, I'm here.
I'm not Todd. You lost Brad.
Brad kicked out. Where'd he go?
I don't know.
We're driving again. We'll see how our connection lasts.
So, Matt, you have your wife there?
Yeah, this is my wife, Alicia. So
I kept telling him, I'm like, let's do Tom and Melissa. And then he's like, I'm going to get up there. And I was up in my bed. I was like, I got this one too.
So you were in bed and you came all the way out to the garage.
Yeah, it got boring up there.
She was up there watching it anyway, you know, so she's stalking the back. So She may as well be sitting out here.
Yeah.
I was trying to watch a Netflix show and ended up watching y'all instead.
Was that better entertainment?
I don't even know what it was about. It was about making a market business or something, and then I didn't even watch it. It was woodworking. It wasn't about bees.
Hey, Keith. Hey, Brad.
Hey
So
there.
how's the chauffeur doing tonight, Melissa?
How's what?
How's the chauffeur tonight?
He's doing okay. He said he has a little bit of a headache, but you know.
I think he's been
Still
sniffing
driving.
on that bourbon honey. He acted a little silly earlier.
Oh yeah.
I sent him some pictures earlier. Is what I did. I was messing with him.
I asked him if he's on the sauce.
He's on the sauce. He was on the strawberry lemonade this afternoon. How's that? That's about as hard hitting as his sauce got today.
Speaking of bourbon honey, how does that actually taste? Does it have a bourbon smell or taste, or does it have a charred taste?
Bourbon.
Very subtle though, Joey. It's not overpowering.
You ever taste? Have you ever accidentally caught a little cow manure in your mouth or anything, Joy, around livestock?
I grew up working in a dairy barn, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's exactly what it tastes like to me.
You're so full of cow manure, it's not even funny.
So it tastes a lot like buckwheat honey, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, selling.
JW, when you're going in the business of a cow, your mouth should not be open, all right?
And my daughter learned that lesson.
I've done it more than once. I'm not. This goes with the territory. Joey can tell you that if he's been around dairy cows. They're all alike.
Yeah.
The first thing a cow does when they get a little bit excited, what they do.
Yeah.
They crap all over the place.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Meadow muffins.
Literally all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hated green chopping season. I hated it with a passion. You know what I'm talking about.
Joey, what hat are you wearing tonight? Is that Brian's hat?
Looks like it.
Yep,
Flower Street Farms. Those are nice hats.
it is.
Yeah,
There's
it's
some good
perfect.
cream honey in the box
Todd's
too.
got one too.
Yep.
Tom left his at home. This is at home.
Are you guys headed back to St. Louis, or are you just
We're
heading
heading
home
back.
from work?
We're heading back to the lake house from dinner.
Nice.
So we're coming back home tomorrow sometime.
Eat, eat, eat.
Eat.
Treat, treat, treat. Eat, eat, eat.
What was the name of the place you eat?
Tonight,
Yeah.
Whiskey somewhere.
whiskey,
This right here. What does it say?
big whiskey.
Whiskey flats.
Big whiskey is the name of it.
Oh.
I don't know. It's a restaurant down on the Branson landing. Just
Oh,
kind of
I've
like
been
an
there.
outside mall.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
one
for
of
the
big
people that
restaurants
don't
down there.
know, for the people that don't know, Branson's kind of like Missouri Vegas. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's
It's
a lot
like-
of money put in that.
And
That one.
Silver
Well,
Dollar,
sometimes you can't
Silver
drive
Dollar
it
City
in
is,
summertime.
You know
Yeah,
what?
Silver Dollar
I
City
never
is-
really cared. I never really cared to plan a trip to Branson,
Mhm.
but when I get there, I always have a good time.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just
Yeah. So Tom's sister and brother-in-law, they built a house just off the lake in Kimberling City, what, 2
Yep.
years ago, year and a half ago?
Yeah.
So when we come down here, we pretty much stay on the lake, and we might come into Branson, like for dinner once, but for the most part, we just make food there. The kids, now that they can all drive, they'll come into Branson in the evenings and mess around with the go-karts or, whatever they're going to do. But yeah, for the most part, when we're down here, it's during the summer and we're just on the lake having fun on the water.
Yeah, when I'm Branson, I'm down fly fishing on Taney Como for those world-class brown trout. You know. So.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we came down. So the reason we came down this year, or right now, is because they have this theater, Sight and Sound Theater, and they do all biblical plays, presentations, and they're absolutely amazing. If you ever have an opportunity to go to a Sight and Sound Theater presentation, definitely go. This is the third one that we've seen, and it was their the Miracle of Christmas, I think, is what it was called. So we had all us, Tom's sister and brother-in-law, their kids, and his other brother and sister-in-law and their kids all got tickets, and we came down to see that show this weekend. Yesterday we went to Silver Dollar City because Silver Dollar City is an amusement park here in Branson, and in the winter they put lights on absolutely everything, all the buildings, and it's really pretty, and they have a lot of Christmas shows. So yesterday we went to Silver Dollar City. Today we went to the Sight and Sound Theater presentation. So tomorrow we'll just head on home.
That's good. Good wholesome family fun. You know, it's a good time to visit.
Yeah.
My kids loved Silver Dollar City during Christmas because of all the lights. They must string up over 1 million lights.
I mean, it's insane. It's insane.
Yeah. They probably start in summer, and I wonder how many staples they go through.
I think they start putting lights on all the buildings in July, is what my sister-in-law said yesterday.
It's crazy. And we called Silver Dollar City the Midwest Disneyland, or Disneyland of the Midwest.
Yeah.
It's an awesome place. It really is cool.
It is. It's really neat. They have a lot of crafters there, so like glass blowers, blacksmiths, that you can actually like watch them make things. Woodworkers, you know, it's really cool, and it's a very, very clean. Like everything there is clean, and the food, you know, like you go to some amusement parks and the food is trash. Like their food is actually decent too.
Yeah, it's a great place.
Last time we went up there, I think it was Thanksgiving 2021, maybe somewhere in there.
Oh, it's called the Redneck Riviera.
The Redneck Riviera.
I like that.
The one thing that killed me was that house that's all crooked. You walk in it and it's all, you know, upside down rooms. And,
that's the Ripley's Believe It or Not house.
Man, that thing.
Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Yeah.
That it would set my gyroscope off in my head. By the time I got out of there, I looked like I drank a fifth of bourbon. Oh, I was staggering, you know.
We're going down a big hill, so I might lose you guys. Yeah, we've not done a ton of stuff like as far as shows and whatnot here. We've done this.
Dog House there. I don't know where you're at from.
I think we're back.
From Fort Leonard Wood, but I used to come down that Bell area and fish on the Gasconade all the time. Fish for.
There's some awesome waterways in southern Missouri, getting into Arkansas especially. Holy cow! The whole White River system is phenomenal. Matter of fact, I've fly fished in Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, Yellowstone, and almost anytime I've ever gotten a guide out west in a very scenic, mountainous, awesome fishery knows the White River system, including Taney Como and any of those reservoirs or generated locks and dams, not locks and dams, tailwaters.
So do you like bees more than?
Yeah.
Do they still have the Japanese fiddler in Branson? Is he still there?
Yoki?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That dude put on a show, man.
What's the other guy? The Russian guy, Yakov Smirnov. Is he still there?
I'm not sure. You see the billboards. I'm not sure.
Yakov is not here anymore.
Oh, he's not. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They used to have that was a good show too.
Yeah, there's some talent down there in Branson for sure.
Kind of down in the valley, if y'all can hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're freezing up every now and then. I think she just froze up again.
Yeah.
That way they can't talk. Give you a little rest.
You got time right where you want it.
See, when you're froze up, Melissa, you can't get back at me when I smart.
I got to ask her a question and see if that hotel is sold out yet, because I haven't made my hotel reservations. I need to do that.
Actually, God House, I had a buddy that was a railroad engineer, and he had a cabin out there on the Gasconade there, someplace. I couldn't even tell you now how I got there. Down there about every weekend, fish there in the summertime.
I do have them. Yes, Nancy, I do have the name down.
Are you speaking again?
Yeah, we went down in this deep valley and we lost connection. So I didn't hear what was being asked of me.
Hey,
but yes,
Melissa, I got a question about the hotel. Is the hotel sold out yet?
What hotel?
The one in St. Louis.
For St. Louis? Not that I know of.
Okay.
There would be plenty of accommodations fairly close, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's lots of hotels like right in that really close vicinity, within walking distance. But there should be a link on the registration page.
Yeah.
For the hotel that is attached to the venue.
I think it's only being blocked off until part of January, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. Brian asked if I was freaking out about the honey show. And I'm not, because I prepped some of it. Oh.
Do you intend to rent a car or something, Todd? Or do you need transportation when you get there or something?
No, I figured, and you know what? I was going to ask Brian. I'll have to text Brian and see when he's flying in, because I have two choices to get there from here. I could go through Denver or through Dallas. And there's only one flight that I could catch from here to Denver to get to St. Louis. And if it's the same flight, I'll go on that way. Otherwise, I'll just fly into St. Louis. I'll get I guess the hotel will have a shuttle, and that's how I'll get to and from the airport.
Yeah, I'm not positive. I can't remember if it does or not.
I don't, Todd. Well, we're gonna make sure you get around if you need to. You know what? Like that's. I don't know if a shuttle would take you from the airport to that, and it might. I don't know.
I'd be doubtful.
I would know a lot better. That venue. Okay. But if needs be, I'd be happy to volunteer. To pick you up, give you a ride for sure. That's.
Sure, I'll call or text you, let you know.
That wouldn't be a problem if needed. Just keep that in mind.
Okay. All right. Thanks for that. I appreciate it, Matt.
Coming in.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the shuttle. That would be something you have to call the hotel and ask. But Brian asked if I was freaking out about the honey show for Navi, and I'm not, because before we left on Thursday, I poured 3 wax blocks. So hopefully I've got at least one of those that is good. And then I started pouring my honey for my honey injuries on Thursday also. So I think I'm okay.
Can y'all hear that thunder coming in?
Yeah, I do.
You hear it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm too far away.
Joey, we have rain hitting the metal garage roof right now from that storm.
Yeah, it's raining here also, Matt.
I can hear it.
Not heavy, but it's right now here. But my wife said it's supposed to get heavy here about 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. Nothing hard, but it's raining.
Hey,
safe in that storm,
Hey, Matt, that I have a stirrer stick just like yours back there hanging on the wall for my sugar syrup.
Oh, okay.
That's how I do it. I have a 55-gallon drum.
Yeah, that's one of my extra trolling motors that's hanging upside down.
So yeah,
that's
it works great.
I need to come up with a sugar mixing tote this year, because all summer long I was doing it in separate 5-gallon buckets with that same whip I was doing that fondant with, and then using a transfer pump into the tank truck. And I've already outgrown that, and it's time to up the game. So I saw Tom's tank and syrup tote that he's got on his rig, and that's quite the setup there. So I'm, with his permission, I'm gonna plagiarize that son of a gun. Copy it. Copyright law.
Hey, come on over, take some measurements, man. Whatever you want to do.
He got that from just watching other people's videos. I think it was Bruce Cayman has one. It was like a conglomeration of Cayman's, Bruce's, and somebody in Canada.
Cayman actually has a syrup pump.
Yeah, it was somebody else.
A couple $1,000 for
in Canada.
And I'm sure, just like any system under pressure, those PVC fittings or anything plastic, especially if it's sitting in the sun and has some degradation going on, is probably the weak link of the chain, if I had to guess. But I think that's a system I have to go with.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way. It was actually not a PVC fitting that gave way. I was an idiot to use an ABS nipple coupler, and it just sheared off.
Yeah.
So I got a galvanized. I think it's a galvanized one in there now.
You haven't had any problems with yours, have you? You just have that one little leak that you just need to tighten, right? So it seems
my leak's pretty good when I have just water in it, but by the time I mix the syrup up, it stops leaking. It's thicker.
You get a leak in those when you're out there feeding. The bees will find it right away.
Well, and that's kind of the thing, is it's usually, it hasn't caused a big problem. And if there are any leaks, it just leaks on the trailer, so the bees will just come clean it up anyway.
Exactly.
I've always wondered, like, those straggler bees that are in the back of the truck or on anything, if you're leaving a yard with enough bees, you're definitely going to have something, in the back of your truck that maybe spilled, like some sugar water or what have you. Do those bees, you think, fly out on the way home and, within the first mile and make it back to the hive? Or, if they're, let's call it 100 bees, at that fitting there on the underneath side of that IBC tank, no matter how tight you have the threads, they can smell it and they're all over it.
Yeah.
And I'll, just kind of, maybe with my smoker, just hit the back of the truck, slam the tailgate, take off, hoping that I'm dispersing them in the yard. But I always wondered.
Yeah, the amount of bees that are usually on it isn't anything that I'd ever worry about.
Yeah,
being taken away from the hive. So I'm like, whatever.
Matt, I have a real farmer's market. I just sell my honey out for people coming by at the farm. People coming by on the honor system. I don't know if you've seen pictures of it or not.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I had bees on my containers today around the lids and stuff. I can smell it. It's tight.
Wow.
They won't leak or anything. Turn them upside down. Those little old bees could smell it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder if you have some of that extra fondant, I would almost smear some on a pallet or fence or something like that, and see how they attack it like that. Especially if you don't have rain coming later that day and be around for a little while. I've had pretty good luck from what I can see of them when the fly days where there's nothing out there to source but water. And just seeing them at least get a little something to take back home.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool to see. You can't feed them sugar for this time of year.
I was telling Joey before we come in, I was checking hives today, and I had one hive that is actually a 5-frame nuke, 3 deep 5-frame nuke, and I'm wintering. And I don't know if a coon got up on it or something and knocked the entrance reducer down, and I decided to put it back in, and I didn't get any more and get my hand down there, and then bam, 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 they popped me 3 or 4 times. It's a little, little protective. So
yeah, good chance they were getting messed with, and
yeah,
I'm used to it though. I don't mind it. So
you know, it seems like
once my bees flew today, I sat and watched them about all for an hour or two this morning.
Yeah, we definitely had them flying a little bit today. I went and some OA treatments, and they weren't heavy flying, but the water bees were definitely getting out for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be in the mid 60s here again tomorrow. It's been like that for 3-4 days in a row.
Wow.
Yep. It's 56 here right now.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
You got the storm future warm air your way. Wait till that gets there.
Todd, what do your lows usually get like?
Well, the coldest part of the year is between now and next week. And if it does drop real low, it'll get down into the mid 20s for the lows, and then the highs. Sometimes if it's foggy, like there'll be 2 weeks in a row where you don't see the sun because of all the fog. It won't get above 42, 43 degrees, and it's wet. It sucks. I hate it, but what it is. And then in probably 6 more weeks, it's going to be up in the mid 60s again, and off it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's those warmer winter days, or what I feel like is what's really depleting all the food stores that they were able to pack in when I was feeding them syrup. And that's been one of my biggest concerns, really. Like it gets down in the 30s or mid 40s, and they're not really flying out. They're not really consuming that much, but I haven't been back to check on any fondant levels in the last 2 weeks, so it'll be interesting to see, because there's been some cooler nights, but we've had some warmer days too. So
yeah.
Well, it's supposed to snow on not tomorrow, but next Sunday when we're on our way back from Hobby. Like here in St. Louis anyway, I think there's like a 65% chance of snow on Sunday.
Okay.
So.
Oh, you come up to Nobby this year, I hope it's about 15, 20 degrees, and you'll get used to that winter beekeeping. That'll teach you.
There's around here, they're starting to talk about another atmospheric river event, and it might be near the end of January, into February, and we might get a lot of water again, which would be nice, but there's trade-offs. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, some rain and moisture is good, but too much at the the wrong time is like our black locust bloom. It was non-existent. The flowers were there one day, and the next couple storms later, and it's gone, bare branches.
What's funny about that is so you're kind of a little bit out like we are, just in opposite directions. But if you were in St. Louis, like at the learning yard, the EMBA's learning yard, there were black locust blooms out there. Like they got black locust blow like the closer into the city that you got, because that island, But once you got out to like the more rural areas where it's not holding that heat in, that those blooms just got frost damage,
Yeah. Yep. That, and we had a good hailstorm right around that same time of year. And that just, you could, throughout the whole summer, you see little dead parts of that earlier growth from the spring that had just gotten really pulverized, and just.
There was a tornado
in
it.
I have to read the comments on my phone because I'm on my iPad with the stream, so I can't do both at the same time on one device.
Yeah, it's hard to see them on the phone.
Yeah, in DC, you're right. It is the same system or same whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's going to shift down here. So we'll get run over by it eventually. I just hope it doesn't come too well, like in mid-February, because that's when the peaches and the plums start blooming and the henbit starts going usually, and all that rain's going to knock everything out, and that's the first thing that the bees get to start off, and then the oranges will get them going. But that's their first real taste of real stuff. So we'll see.
Can you see that comment?
Yeah.
Melissa?
Yeah, I can see it. Clay, that's proprietary information. I cannot share that with you.
It's gonna cost you.
Yeah. What are you gonna bring me to the no
Here we go. The price is right.
Hey, now you guys see the crap I deal with, all right?
Welcome to Wheel and Deal.
No. So just
Don't worry
kidding.
about
So
her,
I
Clay.
actually
She's, I call her Avis anyway. She's always number 2. She never gets number 1 on.
Got to write this down, JW. If she makes any money on this live, we got to get our cut out of it.
Uh-oh.
So actually, I heat the honey until it's pretty thin, or coming out of a warm bottling tank is fine too. But I just run it through a pair of nylon pantyhose or nylon socks, and that's what I use.
Unused or used?
Well, I know a lot of the honey judges, so I do unused.
Oh gosh.
No.
When do they
Fresh
give
from
the
the
awards
Walmart.
on the honey? When do they give ribbons?
That's on Saturday.
So
We'll do
would
that on
you get your ribbons before the no life photo?
No. Well, I
Oh,
don't know. What?
I don't think so. What the Friday?
Yeah, I think the photo's on Friday. Yeah, I can bring my ribbons from last year. How about that?
There you go. We're rooting for you to win it all. You know.
No, I wouldn't be able to live with her.
So yeah, I just use nylon socks, women's nylon socks to run it through.
Hey, y'all, we can celebrate JW's birthday when we're down there too. Just FYI. Don't tell him I said so.
When is that?
Well, his birthday is the week after Nobby. But
That's not. I quit having them things about 20, 30 years ago.
well, you're gonna have him this year.
Yep.
That's for people that care.
So Hale asked, "What entries am I planning on entering?" So all of the liquid
Wouldn't
honey,
you guys like to know?
proprietary. No, so all of the liquid honey. So the light extracted, the amber extracted, the dark extracted, the infused honey, creamed honey, wax blocks, 6 wax figures, maybe the condiment.
I'm gonna do some photograph ones.
I think Tom's gonna enter some photographs, and if I have time, I might do like some of the baked good items, but I'm not sure if I'll have time to do that.
Holy jeez.
So we'll
How
see.
many cars are you driving down there?
Just my Explorer.
We got a 10 o'clock cutoff on this chat now, Melissa. We can't stand you to list out your whole string of your entries.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so Jamie Wynn has entered the chat too. What categories are you entering, Jamie? Because he enters a lot of the honey show
Yeah, he's a good
categories too. He's actually won first prize in the wax block and I think a couple of his honeys too. So he's the one I have to sabotage. Let's see.
You might have missed out on it, Matt. Gunline Bees down in Mississippi, they had little in-house bees. People sent them. Well, Phil won the doggone thing.
Yeah.
Phil Morris did RTX. It was all a rigged deal.
Yeah.
My entries, they didn't even open. I emailed them several samples.
Didn't get it.
Didn't open one. This honey stuff you was asking about, it's all rigged. It's
It's
nothing
like,
to it.
yep, like that something funny going on. Especially if you email, I can that.
Yeah, you know they got it if you emailed it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Maybe Jasper intercepted the email.
You'll see when I get down to Nobby. I got rewarded for that. They paid me pretty good.
This morning ritual will change your life. You're going to want to listen to this.
All right.
Got a cash reward.
Light extracted, amber extracted, maybe dark, having issues. Maybe black's having issues as well.
And sourwood.
And sourwood.
Which ones did you win ribbons on, Jamie?
I've never tasted sourwood honey, but that does interest me, you know. That would taste like that and mesquite. I would like
You
to try.
coming in again?
Yeah, I think so.
We got a little sourwood in our area, Matt, and you probably do too, but it's not elevation enough. It doesn't produce honey, you know.
Really?
Doesn't produce nectar, yeah. There's a few sourwood trees, at least the river in southern Illinois, and I'm sure they are across the river also. So
interesting.
Not on every corner, but there's a few of them around.
And they're the ones that are growing crooked a little bit, like they don't grow totally straight. They're kind of zigzag.
Yeah, they're kind of have a real red plumage on them in the fall.
Okay.
They're almost bright red, blood red, I'd call it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
There should be a few around some of them hillsides over there. I don't know if Tom and Melissa's got any or not.
There's definitely some of that. One of the things about bees that have taught me is, man, to pay attention to the trees and the different varieties of flowers. And man, I'm just, I would love to become a master gardener at the same time, just in that sense. I don't know how time devoting, you know, that would, but man, we have some hives at Crest Farm, which is a nature preserve in Hillsboro, and they, you know, they sell flowers and they have flowers blooming constantly. But
they host that gardener group.
Yeah, so they have gardener group. They have a huge following of people that similar to the Missouri Botanical Gardens that preserve follow plants species available. Really, really cool to see. But it's just the amount of things that I've taken in and learned just different trees around, and that was one of the first big investments I did in beekeeping. Was I drill planted 250 black locust trees. As soon as I found out that it was a nectar producing tree, I drill planted them and ran drip irrigation to it, you know. And the following year, actually later that fall, last fall, I did another 200 linden basswood Tilea americana.
Oh, really?
And yeah, that's.
And now you've got blackberry vines in an incubator.
Yeah, I'm propagating blackberries from one of the farmers we have hives at. So trying to grow those, get them ready for spring. But it's, as an example, just it's not just bees. I mean, it can take you in so many different awesome directions you never even saw coming, really, you know. And I guess it's all kind of centered around bees and maybe at the start, but I just did that because I have nothing else better to do. You know? No, but I really do. I really want to do right by the bees, and you know, but black locust, the locust trees, you know, affix nitrogen in the soil like a black walnut, and there's lots of trees that'll do that. But planting beneficial things for, you know, not just for my bees, but 20 years from now, maybe we'll get some linden honey off it too. You know, we'll know.
I thought he would start coming to dinner, and then he started joining y'all on these chats every night.
At least you know where I'm at.
Yeah, I gotta watch you.
Yeah.
You know, everybody that says I'm always cooking when these things go on, I think you guys should start them at like 7 o'clock West Coast time.
Right.
You know,
Oh my gosh, should be up all night.
It'd be just perfect for me. You know, I mean,
yeah,
it's all about you, Todd?
What's that?
That's all about you.
It's a 2 hour. Yeah, there you go. It's a 2 hour difference, Matt. So it's what 7:30 now.
Well,
yeah, I think
you got a government job. You don't do anything during the day anyway. So
he's ruthless, isn't he, Todd?
God, I used to have to call vendors that were in California when I was working.
Yeah.
And I always had that little small window when I could actually call them with my breaks and their breaks.
Yeah.
That little window got real small.
Yeah.
They were already two hours behind me. So
yeah.
Sometimes I had to actually set an alarm where I could remind myself to call them.
Luckily, I don't have to. I just deal with county stuff. I don't have to deal out of state stuff except for this, you know, the talks and stuff. That's it. So I don't have to plan my day around what time I have to call. You know, like if I had to call JW every day to order something, I wouldn't have to worry about that.
Well, like Brian says, you can start your stream from that end, and we'd still have to stay up late to to be able to aggravate you.
Yeah, hey, yeah, you know, you never know.
That's a good idea.
Well, you guys in so early. It's like, you know, 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock. They start at 5 my time, and usually 2 hours, so I could start at 7:30.
Sure.
Yeah, most chats fit our evening pretty well because it's usually about 7 or 7:30, you know, and it's either right after dinner or the day's slowing down at least enough to. But yeah, I tell you, like when Brad popped on there the other day with his wood shop live during the day. I mean, I didn't get on there and comment, but I was so tickled he popped on there, and you know I wasn't that at work, but I was like, "Here's Brad, it's like another present. Look at this." You know?
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's I think that's all rigged. I think them guys get together and plant that. Him and Bob and Todd there. I think them.
Yeah, no, it's Corey was on there getting planer lessons, you know, and it's
yeah.
One tool I don't have is a bench planer. I guess it's a bench planer.
That's a good little planer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's a good little planer. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, if I ever need to fine tune that sucker, that video is right there and perfect for it.
You bet. I should trim that. And put that up as a tutorial on the 735.
Yeah.
Chris asking what's on your list.
I know if John Hill doesn't quit releasing things, our list is never going to quit growing. I feel like Tom was all excited. He saw John had that video on those feeders that he's going to start selling. The yellow ones, they look like the Saracel feeders. And Tom got all excited, but they're only 10 frame, and we run all 8 frame equipment. So no dice. Like, oh.
Is that a top feeder or a division board?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, hive top feeder.
Yeah, we're all going straight to that John Hill booth. Win.
You got to get your hive tool and your veil.
Yeah, I need to figure out an extractor for next season. I'm getting the cart in front of the horse here, going. You know what I mean? It's hopefully
you got to be prepared. Otherwise, you're going to get to extraction season, and you're going to be like, "Oh my god, how am I going to do all this?"
Yeah, I borrowed one this past season, but I guess I'd have to ask nicely again if I don't get it figured out. There's a hand crank, a 4 frame.
It's a good workout.
Mm-hmm.
Exercise.
Yeah.
Nobody buys a hand crank extractor twice.
Yeah.
No.
That's true.
We never bought one once.
This one, yeah.
Yeah.
But you were extracting
Nobody ever says, that old hand crank I had, that was a great extractor. I think I'll buy one of those again.
Yeah.
Nobody in the history of the world has ever said that.
Especially when you have to jump on it, because you're sitting there turning it.
Well,
it's a good list.
The nice thing about extractors is they usually hold their value. So get the best one you can get.
Yeah.
And you'll never lose money on it.
Well, yeah, because even if you buy something and you outgrow it, you're probably not going to lose anything on it when you go to sell it.
That's right. Unless it's a hand crank, and then that's just money down the toilet.
Yeah, Brian, we're all going to try to win that $3,000 spending spree with Hilco.
Look at there. Hey, buddy.
You look like Joe. You didn't know that?
He was the least excited to get a bee suit for Christmas.
I seen that.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get stung. I'm telling him I'm not going to put you in a position to where, the bees aren't going to be flying mad. We're just going to go through and walk around. So
get stung ain't that bad.
Yeah,
it's not bad at all.
There's way worse things in life than that.
Yeah.
I got stung yesterday checking out. Was it yesterday? Yeah, checking out my colonies in the barn. They get down. They don't fly very well in there. It's cold, and they get down. They always land on me, and then they go down my collar and sting me in the neck.
Yeah, they like to walk, and it's cool.
Yeah.
Wait, are you
I got stung 3 or 4 times this morning, young man. That's fun. I like it.
It's medicine.
No, it's good for you. Well, if it don't kill you, it'd make you stronger, right? Like a lot of stuff.
Unless they get you under the fingernail.
Ooh.
Yeah,
it's not good.
I heard you crying about that to someone. Who was you crying?
Greg Burns made a post about it earlier today on Facebook, and I commented too.
He's not very tough anyway.
DC asked me how many lids did I check not on camera. Not a lot. Maybe just one more set of nukes I checked. And I was finding similar results. So, if everything is like what I saw on Friday, it's going to be better than last year, but maybe not a whole lot better. I don't know what's going on. I just haven't shaken what's killing my bees, but I'll keep trying, right?
Do you think it might be? Have you given them any heft? I mean, do you feel like it is a starvation thing or viral? I mean,
no, I almost never have starvation problem.
Okay.
No, I stopped worrying about that about 3 years in. It just doesn't really happen. I mean, it happens, but not much,
right,
at all. So I think it's viral load, and I've been talking to a lot of people about virus on equipment, virus on the comb, and whatnot. I was fortunate to talk to Dr. Curry about that last fall, and because his grad student did one of the most in-depth studies on virus on comb, and the consensus basically from everything they've learned is it's only time that makes the viruses disappear on the comb. So
yeah, I guess the comb's kind of working like the liver of the colony, right? I mean,
yeah. It's just how do you if you imagine an operation like I have, say 150 colonies or so, how do you kind of start everything on new equipment?
Yeah,
that's a little difficult.
Yeah,
I did a good job last year. I replaced a lot of my comb last year with fresh honeycomb, which I would assume doesn't have as much viral load, but maybe that's a bad assumption to make.
Yeah, so, there more. I've been trying to get down to 20 hives for about 5 years now.
Yeah, it's the hardest thing in the world to do is to DB.
It's almost like raising rabbits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody needs tips on how to kill your bees, or just send me a message. I seem to be able to do it.
That's unfortunate, but that's.
Yep.
That's, you know, and
I
I'm
wouldn't wish that on anybody.
There's a lot of guys, a lot of beekeepers around, not just here, but through the U.S. And they're just, they're saying the pollination is really in jeopardy this year because of bee losses. Yeah.
60 to 70% they're predicting right now for some commercial operations.
Wow.
So,
yeah, it's going to be major.
I don't know.
Good night, Chris.
Just viral loads? Are the mites heavier infested with viruses? I don't know. I don't know.
It was from what I heard, it was kind of a perfect storm. So there was a bunch of guys that were running for honey later than usual, so they had less time to treat.
Well, that exacerbates the problem for sure.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't know what honey prices are doing right now on that big a scale. I'm guessing they're still pretty low, but if you have a chance to make some more honey, I guess, you know, you'd look at that and take it.
Well, how much more money are you going to make to replace that colony and the pollination revenue from that colony? Because, you know, throughout the United States, you really don't produce that much honey. So if you're going to get a couple more weeks of flow, is it worth it?
Yeah.
You know, it's not like 2 weeks in a canola flow, right?
Yeah, no.
2 weeks in a canola flow, you make 250 pounds of honey.
Yeah.
But
yeah, our flow went on a little later than it did last year, at least. I mean, it was almost first part of August before I pulled all our supers, where it's almost been middle of July last year, I want to say. 4th of July, right around the 4th is what my mentor was instructing me to start looking at pulling. But after a little bit of rain, it seemed like after maybe one of those hurricanes came through, we got about 3 inches of rain, and it right before the goldenrod, I feel like, and it really kind of opened things up for at least a little bit of a late summer flow, I guess.
Yeah.
I think I generated a lot of honey this year on my harvest.
Well, you know, there'd definitely be a shortage of bees around here, because I've already heard from a couple guys that I've had kind of agreements with in the past to fill up holes in their contracts, and I said no, I can't do anything. Well, I'd like to help, but I can't, not this year. They're already scrambling. It's going to be rough, that's for sure.
I wonder how that'll affect some of the commercial queen breeders, or, you know, some of the big operations outside of just the honey production, nuke production or packages, or, you know, I mean, I guess the people who are less effective people having to shake off and splits anyway, but as a whole, you know, and what people are depending on for that early spring, you know.
Bee sales will be up this year, that's for sure. Queen sales, you know.
Is our screen black? Like,
yeah.
I have no idea why.
We thought y'all did that on purpose.
Yeah, we thought Tom just didn't want to be seen.
Has it been that way the whole time?
No,
maybe
10 minutes since you guys get out of the car.
A little bit in the house.
I wonder if it's because we had that webcam when we were at home last time hooked up to it, and now I'm trying to use the laptop camera again.
We can hear you just fine, just can't see you.
All right.
Yeah, you're not on video.
It started out, you had a picture, and then it totally went out. When you came back, it's been gone.
Yeah, I think it's because when we were in the car, I was on my iPad. When we came inside, I switched to the laptop.
I could see you on both of them at one time.
Yeah, that's when I was switching it over. All right, I'll see if I can figure out how to fix it.
Well, I'm going to go back to bed.
Well, good night, young lady.
You're getting bored already?
We'll see y'all next week.
Yes, you got to get up there and start.
See you later. You're going to have to set you a studio up right there, Matt.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm going to have to abandon this little this little backdrop too. I don't know how you guys get those pretty pictures on the back of your yard, but
it's right there in settings. If you go to StreamYard in settings, set you up a free account in StreamYard.
Yeah,
and you can upload some of your favorite pictures.
You can upload as many pictures as you so desire.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And I can do that outside of the live. I mean, just on my phone.
Oh, yeah.
StreamYard.
Well, you got to sign up for a free account.
Gotcha.
You can do it then.
Yeah.
And if you have trouble, you can get you a green screen like this right here.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you start seeing stuff bleeding off in the picture and stuff like that. You know, if you don't.
Yeah, Joey's got a fancy setup there. I don't know if I'll ever make that big time. You know,
it's like a $15 screen.
Is that just a bed
on a $4 piece of rope?
Is that a bed sheet or a green curtain?
It's actually called a green screen, but it's just like a big green curtain. I think it's like
that's what I got too, Todd. It's here behind
8 by 10 or something like that, or 10 by 12. I done forgot what it is.
You can buy them off Amazon with the stand, Matt, for I don't know, $15, $18. They're not very expensive.
Yeah, that's a cost I could digest a little bit.
Yeah,
they actually make one. It's not quite as big as this one, but you can buy it and the stand to set behind you on a little tripod.
That's what I might do right behind me.
But my camera angle is so wide, I had to get something pretty big.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can get most of it there, you'd be good.
Mm-hmm.
There's JW's.
See, there's mine, Matt, without the.
Oh, okay.
Without the picture on it. That's.
Gotcha.
It's just a green sheet. All it is. You could buy you could dye a sheet. You know. And all mine is just a. It's. I got this off Amazon. I don't know. A year or two ago, and it's blue on one side. It is, and green on the other.
Okay.
And then you can put different pictures in your settings and go back and forth to whatever you want.
Once you use the green screen in the settings there, you can actually click on I have a green screen. But for some reason it's default wide open on the lighting, and you have to back off a little bit because it makes it look real weird.
It makes you look white like mine does. I got a cheaper camera. You can switch around to different stuff. Just, I've got, I don't know, 15 or 20 pictures.
I don't have that many.
Yeah, you had Bigfoot on the other night.
Wall.
The Bigfoot?
Yeah, I got Bigfoot on there.
Brick wall. What's that one? That's the big studio.
There's old Bigfoot. My wife got that for him. That's a tree.
I know. I can't figure this camera thing out. So now at least you have a picture of us instead of a black square.
Just leave it blank.
Just leave it blank.
I don't know what's going on.
That's funny.
That's my own
You're
fireplace.
supposed to be a computer whiz, Melissa. That's not very good advertisement.
What's that?
I said, I thought you were a computer whiz. That's not very good advertisement for your abilities.
I'm thinking I might have to restart the computer, and then I'd have to relog back on and all that nonsense.
I had to reboot mine up this evening. It wasn't those links and stuff that you were sending and Joy was sending wasn't coming through.
Yeah.
I had to reboot mine, and then they all came through at the same time, about the time we started.
You got one of them Chinese computers.
Yeah.
I tell you, if I can't drive a screw or drive a nail or put a screw in it and toenail it or do something like that carpenter wise, it's anything technology is difficult for me.
Lee, I did that, and it's still not doing it. Camera. I only have one camera option, and I click that, and it's still not coming up. So I don't know what's going on.
Matt, that's what welders say about. They say nuts and bolts for people who can't cut and weld.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be a fascinating trade, just being able to sculpt with metal and I look, and that would just wow, what a game changer, to be able to make things. Once upon a time, the blacksmith is what really made the town go around. Whether it be for horseshoes or he made the metal tools for the farm implements. There was a lot of early farmers almost had to be blacksmiths too, and all the cool things you can do with metal is amazing.
Actually, I showed this last night. Everybody might have seen it, but that's that thing there behind me. Have you seen that before? That's a Apigard card that the bees.
Oh yeah.
What that is?
Wow.
Yeah.
He covered it up, didn't he?
Yeah.
Dang.
Interesting. Now, going back to the debris talk, or what the bees are recognizing as debris, I've noticed sometimes with that Apigard, I've even seen a bee fly out with one of those drier chunks, and and her flying out, and there wasn't any sugar in the hive, so I knew it was Apigard treatment. And I'm wondering, Mark Miller had mentioned, I think on Charlie did a live earlier in the week, and Mark Miller was talking about putting sugar on that Apigard to help them faster versus propolis it, or maybe haul it off as trash, but actually it seemed like to help them consume it.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the addition to the sugar, where they'd see potentially as food, or what would cause them to not treat that as much as debris in that case, with the the whole thing with the Apigard is to get them to actually move it around, or I guess haul it out in that sense. But you're almost saying if they're taking out chunks, how much of that treatment's leaving with that, and I guess the off gassing of the haul is probably what they're getting out, or the benefit from it before it's hauled out at that point.
Well, the experts say that most of the off gases, the majority of it, with the Apigard or the formic in the first 2 or 3, 4 days.
Really?
Yeah. It's pretty well.
Yeah, I haven't used it. I know at Apigard, you can sure smell it on the. Not super potent, but you can smell it for a little while afterwards. I feel like.
Yeah, if it'll dissipate out of the honey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here they come again. Here she comes.
Not gonna work.
She's a soap. No.
That spinny comet thing.
Oh, dang, they made it.
Yeah, but watch the microphone not work.
There you are.
Get off of me.
Get off of me.
We had to restart. We're
We
working.
can get Brad to sing Miss America. There she is.
Yeah, right.
Miss Honey. Miss Honey.
All the bad weather's pretty much gone now. It's
I was looking at that.
Well, that's good.
There's not a cloud in Western Canada right now, apparently. That's crazy. It's been cloudy for a week.
Yeah, Brian, that's what we had to do is reboot.
Yeah.
That means it'll be cold, Brad.
Well, it's going to cool off. It's not cold though, which is weird. Usually when it warms up here, it's cloudy and it snows, and then it gets cold and clear. But today was clear. There was no wind, and it was 2 degrees. It was a beautiful day. I worked out there all day.
Oh well. Wow. 2 degrees.
Well, 34.
35,
36.
36. Yeah, 36.
You know, the more I look at the Fahrenheit temperatures, the more stupid it gets.
Yeah.
It don't make sense.
Yeah, it don't make no sense.
Here we go. Oh,
It
shoot.
seems like for weather, Celsius would make more sense. I mean, like when Brad said 2 degrees, I knew right there. All right, well, 32 is 0, so that must be 34. You know, but when you start getting into 16C or 20C, I'm just like, I have no idea. You know, I know Charlie's got his little cheat sheet there.
Yeah.
Every degree is 1.8 Fahrenheit.
Well, 20 is about room temperature. Roundabout. Right.
But the guy that started the Fahrenheit, why did he start the freezing point at a 32 degree? Why didn't he say 0?
It's salt water.
Even if he'd have used 0.
It's salt water, Joey.
Oh.
Yeah.
Salt water freezes at 0 F. Problem is, then why didn't he take the same salt water and boil it and make that 100?
I know.
Because it's not the same thing.
It don't make sense.
Body temperature 100,
I think he was
had
drinking
a fever that day, so it ended up 98.6.
I think he'd have been in the bourbon barrel that day when he designed that.
I think so.
Lee, that's what you get for having all that cheap computer stuff. You see what he's posted there? Said the storm went through and it had to reset his reprogram all his system.
Oh no!
Can you imagine that?
It's bad enough when your phone gets an upgrade and you have to reset all your passwords. I can't imagine having to reset all your settings on all your stuff that you have, Lee.
Yeah, I bet. I'm sure Lee does, but I bet he has a surge protector on that panel, you know, from like that overall GFI basically for all the networking and computers that he has, I'm sure.
Oh, Lee will have that.
Mm-hmm. Because those power surges are real coming through the grid. You know, they can absolutely roast and toast anything you have plugged in your house at the wrong time.
Most of mine runs on a UPS system.
I don't know anything about it, so.
So if there's a few minutes of outage, I don't lose y'all.
Well, all my stuff here is on UPS as far as the TVs and the actual internet and the Wi-Fi. It's all on UPSs, but when we had a little small power blink, everything stayed on, but AT&T went out. It took a minute for their generator to start up where I could come back on the live. So I guess I need to buy AT&T a generator for their USB for their tower.
You need a Starlink.
I got
that too.
Power that up, and then you're good.
Paul's giving you a critique there, Brad. He confused him.
Milliliters? Well, it's a kg. Yeah, it's a kg of honey I used, but the only other things are what is it? It's a half pound of butter, and it's like a tablespoon of vanilla or something, and then a cup, 2 cups of cream or something like that. So there's no milliliters.
Julia too.
But I understand what you're saying, like kg of honey and a half a pound of butter. That's the way it works.
and then you bake it at what? You bake it at like 92C, right?
Yeah, you don't bake caramels, but I know what you mean. I'm baking the pie at 350 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, so the oven is in Fahrenheit, not Celsius.
Well, it is marked in both, but I still work in Fahrenheit when the oven is concerned.
Yes, Gary, they will. Young Queen, especially.
It's a mishmash.
Yours still, there's
caramels you
Joey's
make that video.
asking about multiple eggs in the queen cells or in the cells.
Oh yeah,
That can happen pretty regular, especially
Well,
with the young
just
queens.
figure. She'll throw them everywhere till she gets a little age on her.
Yeah.
Brian Lee, I thought you were just changing Lee's name, making it easy on all of us. Hey, Lee.
Well, knowing Lee, he'll have a good one. Did you make the caramels, Matt?
No, I have not yet. No, I
Yeah.
watched the video though, and I was tasting it through the video. You know, I just
don't wait.
Man, that looks so good.
It's really good.
That might make good fondant.
What's that?
Said that might make good fondant. I might ought to try it.
You know, very much like your fondant recipe. Very much.
That's that's what I thought of. You know, you got it to a little higher temperature and held that temperature. You know, but that's very, very similar. You know,
I tend to not cook them hot enough. Every year I do. You know, and you don't know until it's set, and it's too late. So, what was it? 275 I was going for.
Yeah.
Push that up, like push it close to 300. I'd say.
Wow.
You get a much more firm because even
All right,
this
Roy.
year they're at room temperature. They're pretty soft and very sticky, a little hard to work with. So I think close to 300 would be a better temperature for that.
Wow. Yeah, they looked. It was almost like I think someone said in the comments, smell-o-vision. You know.
Oh yeah, they're really good.
Yeah.
It's torture for me because I really shouldn't be eating any.
Mm-hmm.
But I gave most of them away.
Yeah, that's the whole culinary thing and kind of candy making, I guess, if that's the right term, you know, culinary wise. It's you know, it's a lot of chemistry, but it's amazing with the different temperatures, you know, the soft ball, hard ball, soft crack, medium hard crack, you know, and the kind of the more what I would consider like a peanut brittle, you know, something very almost heavily caramelized and hard. It comes out and cools. It's
the honey really makes the caramels pop. Oh boy, is it ever delicious made with the honey, because you can make that with straight sugar if you want, but the honey is just a next level for that. Really good. And I had this year I made the video I'll fess up was last year. This year I made them. I put in whipping cream. I put 33% cream in them. It makes them really good.
Wow. Yeah, I noticed that frothing on the stove. You did an awesome job keeping it all in that little pan. I was like, wow. It was like
and this
missionary times. I mean, it was like
this year I upped that one and got the big pot out, and it still came up 2/3 of the way. It's so easy to underestimate that, as you know, making fondant.
Yeah,
you can't. You've got an inch of stuff in there. It's gonna be 4 or 5 inches up the pot.
And I'm assuming like adding things like cream or what have you would change the amount of moisture being released or steaming off, and the whole foam level. You know, at least
I think it causes more foam because it's viscous and you definitely more moisture.
At least with that fondant, it's when it comes up to that softball temperature at the boil, like right at about 230, you start seeing it climb, and when it gets to 234, and it doesn't ever, as long as the heat's turned down to medium, and you know, getting down to your setting to hold that constant temperature, it kind of like it just comes up, and then it gives up and just starts falling down, and never does come back up. But like candy making, like you're doing with constantly stirring or needing to add other ingredients at the right time, it would be an art in and of itself, you know. And it's awesome that you put that video together for us to watch.
It's, you know, for that recipe, if you follow those rules to the letter, you'll succeed. It's really not very hard.
Yeah.
It's a little tedious to stir it for half an hour.
Yeah.
You know, but if you follow the temperatures and whatnot to the letter, you'll succeed. Yeah. Because you're right. It's just chemistry, right?
Yeah.
And that does it all for you.
Yep. It's almost exactly with that fondant. You know, I mean, it's not rocket science. It takes a little bit of time, you know, but it's just like anything with bees. You know, it takes a little bit of hard work, and you can get some awesome results no matter what you're doing. So
that's right. So I stitched together the pie recipe or the pie video. It's coming out on Wednesday.
Oh wow!
So,
jeez.
What kind of pie? What kind of pie is it?
It's an apple pie.
Oh,
man.
I call it. It's got a really long name. I call it deep dish butter crust honey apple pie.
Oh boy!
It's a nice deep pie. I use honey wherever I don't use sugar. I use honey in the dough. I use honey in the filling. And there is 2.5 pounds of apples in each pie.
I'll be right back. You just made me hungry.
There you go.
You got that peanut butter toast behind you there, JW.
Making me hungry. So I'll buy a 5-pound bag of Macintosh apples and make 2 pies.
Wow.
And a pound of butter goes into the pie crust on 2 pies.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not diet food.
Yeah, there's not much, a good apple pie with the vanilla bean ice cream. I mean,
oh yeah.
I'm sure that there's definitely desserts out there that rival it, but that's one of my favorites. I look forward to that video too.
I make 4 of those this year. I hardly got any. Give them away too, for the most part. It's expensive. Price of butter, price of apples.
Yeah.
And if I factor in the price of honey, it doesn't really use all that much honey. With the two pies, it maybe uses maybe a cup of honey or something like that. But it's delicious anyway.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
I can't say I didn't use sugar. At the very end, when I've got the pie ready to go in the oven, I do an egg wash on top. It makes a really nice brown crust. And then I'll sprinkle. My wife has some of this. It's kind of I don't know if it's an organic honey or sugar or raw sugar or something, but it's very coarse. I'll sprinkle it with that, and that just makes a nice kind of a candy crust on top of the pie shell.
JW, what are you eating?
Peanut butter.
No, I'm eating a chocolate covered graham cracker.
Chocolate covered graham cracker. Just because you don't have any honey caramels.
That's right.
Well, not that one. Hold on.
Make me a sandwich.
Sandwich.
You taking that new boat back to Labadee, or are you going to leave it down at the lake?
You're going to bring it out to your house. We're going to do some water skiing.
I don't need it.
Yeah, you're going to learn.
I told you that stuff was for idiots. Certified.
Well, be prepared to get your certification.
Hey.
I'm qualified. I got one of those Riffers cards,
Yeah.
That was everything.
Oh, yeah. We'll put you in a Santa suit and get you on the wakeboard. How about that?
I don't think so.
Oh, we can do anything. We can teach an old dog new tricks. Trust me.
Put overload springs on that wakeboard.
Hey, we'll figure that part out.
Yeah, Tom gets going fast enough. You don't have to worry about all that.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it'll keep you on top of the water, even barefoot.
Right.
I've been there and done that, Matt. I've been around all those boating idiots.
He's just mad because he can't get up on a surfboard, Matt. That's the reason.
Just for clarification purposes, we did not purchase a boat. Tom took pictures in front of a boat and sent them to JW.
I assumed that. I thought he was surely smarter than that.
Yeah.
You give them too much credit, JW.
You know what a boat is, don't you, Melissa?
Yes, because we did own one at one time.
Yeah. That's the hole in the water you throw money in.
Yep.
Mhm.
Right.
Night, Lee.
That's right.
I know.
Nightly.
I know from personal experience.
They don't appreciate it as much as the airplanes, though, do they, JW?
Yeah, they do too.
Must be nice.
Most of it's BS, you know that, don't you?
Yeah.
About all this airplane stuff and all that.
Oh, yeah, I do. I'm just ribbing you.
Did you send me that picture? Is that what that was? Let's see if I can figure it out. Hold on.
Yeah, that's it, Joey. Well, I look forward to seeing all you folks next week, I guess.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I'm sure going to miss that old boy over in the lower left corner, though. Tried to get him out of Canada, get him to come down there.
Yeah. See,
What can I say?
when Trump makes Canada a state, it'd be a lot easier for him to come down.
Yeah. I tell you, a lot of things would be easier if we had a real prime minister instead of a little pretend man.
I don't know this, Brad, and I don't know you quite that well yet, maybe to say this, but if I didn't know better, I'd say by some of your posts, you might be a little bit on the Canadian conservative side.
Well, I'm the anti-nonsense side,
Yeah.
right? And nonsense is all we're seeing coming out of Ottawa right now.
And if
really.
it won't hurt your feelings, I'll say this about it. I agree with you 100%. So
Well,
that'll make it
and again, yeah, I do. That's not an unfair assessment. However, you know, corruption and breaking the law, and I don't care who you are. That's not cool.
Yeah.
No.
And you know, it's a really sad state of affairs right now. Really sad.
I guess it must be worldwide. Governed
Well, it's not uncommon. Not uncommon.
Yeah.
I mean, look what you guys just got yourselves out of. Holy cow.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Polyev gets put in there and things will get turned around.
The only question is when and how much damage is going to be done before.
Yeah.
No, right.
I've heard rumors that Trump's going to trade California for Canada. I don't know.
All right.
That's hilarious.
Nice talking with you guys tonight. I'm knocking at the door. I heard the doorbell.
Good night.
All these crazy leftist celebrities saying, "Oh, if Trump wins, I'm going to Canada." What the hell makes them think we want them here? They didn't ask. They didn't ask us. They didn't consult us. Can we come to Canada? It's like, hell no.
Well, we're gonna send them your way anyway, Brad. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah. We'll do it before Polyev is prime minister.
We don't have much use
chance.
Yeah, we've been on here almost 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Wow.
Shoot.
So I'm going to go ahead and end the chat. Y'all just hang in there a minute. And we'll say good night to everybody over there in the chat, and all of you going. We're going to see y'all at Nobby.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing y'all. Brian Lee and Paul Hale, and
I won't be there next week.
Ron Zavada, Barnhill.
I hope everybody enjoyed the last Saturday night chat of the year.
Yeah.
So if I don't see you again, Happy New Year to everybody.
Oh yeah, it's the last Saturday of the year. See everybody at Nobby, and if not, we'll see you next week.
See you in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that too. Yeah. See y'all later.
Night, everybody.